Let me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.
Yeah. Let me talk to you.
Welcome. We are live for another episode of Let Me Talk to You. Of course, my name is Frankie Fresco, and he mentioned it yesterday. There was a possibility he might be a special guest here, and we definitely have a special guest. That's none other than Mr. Stan Lee. What's up, Stan? What's going on, sir?
What's going on, sir? Thank you for having me, man. I feel I forgot to put not the Trapio because that's what I'm better known as on this show, but it's all good. I'm here to help you out and support and be whatever you need me to do.
Well, Sean, I appreciate you always coming in clutch for me when my brother decides to kind of flake out on me on a show on a Wednesday. But even though he did flake out on me, I still love him. He's still not over the whole me jinxing him, or I'm calling him out for jinxing me over that game. He's been hurt all this time. So, but guys, don't forget to go and hit the like. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, both on my channel, the Frankie Fresco channel, and of course, since we have Sean in the building, the Stanley Media House YouTube channel as well, which is pretty cool. And thank you guys as you come on in. Obviously, on the chat board, I see Steven Gonzalez. What up, Frankie? Let it go. Let's get it, homie. And then, of course, Sean's dad in the building. What's going on, sir? It's always good to see your father on the chat board as well. But let's go and give you a quick breakdown of what we're gonna do.
Stream Elements there. You didn't get that one?
No, Stream Elements is not part of the chat board. It's just I don't know why it does that. Every time I showcase it on Twitch,
it's promoting your show. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I don't know why.
I saw. Did the Canes finally lose? Let me talk to. I thought they were making fun of you. I didn't look at the whole thing. I just saw the part. I was trying to call it out because
I was interested.
Trying to roast you, man.
I was trying to find out why it still says that the Canes finally lose, because we obviously found out that they didn't lose, but
yes, they did not.
It's okay. Oh, you know what happened? I know what happened. I'll change it because it basically I only changed it on the YouTube side, and I didn't change it on the X side or on the Twitch side. But I mean it's okay. I'm not surprised that somebody.
I just thought
I want to roast myself.
I would not even brought it up if I'd read the front top of it where it says Fresco Music DJ. Now live. I just saw. Did the Canes lose yet? Finally, I was like, oh, here we go. Yes.
I like to roast myself, so that's what happened. But to give you guys the rundown, we're going to talk about NXT last night. It was back to Orlando. So after two big shows, they were back in Orlando. So
they just blacked out the building. So that's the new building, the new layout.
Yeah, and they did. So we'll go and give you a quick rundown of what happened in NXT last night. Give you guys our opinion of it. Then we'll talk about the Dolphins. We got a couple things we want to talk about the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, their upcoming opponent, Indianapolis. As you guys know, if you guys watch the Big Old Radio Show, you know our friend here, Sean, will be heading over to Indianapolis to go cover the game. So he's lucky to be going out there. So hopefully he has a safe trip on I think on Saturday, right? You're heading out there on Saturday?
Saturday evening, and then we're there.
So it should be fun for you. And then obviously we're going to be going ahead and talking a little bit about Chris Greer. What's gonna happen? Do we feel like it's time for him to move on, or they're gonna fire him? We'll also talk about some of the moves that happened this past what I think it was yesterday or the day before, where we had moves from our division. The only one who hasn't made a move has been the Miami Dolphins. And then we'll also, I forgot to actually put it on here, but we'll preview. Obviously, we'll make our predictions as to who do we think will win this weekend. And then finally, we'll end the show with a little talk about, of course, those pesky Canes once again have a tough game this weekend. I will be streaming it live, so my live reaction of the Canes. I'm already setting up a lot of things. One of my things that I wanted to come in actually came in, so I'm excited about that. Came in today. So I'll be able to show that for you guys over the weekend during my live reaction. And then I think Sean might swing by. And now he might not stay for the whole game, but he'll definitely at least say what's up to us, I think. If not, then you guys will just have to just listen to me.
Oh, dude, I'll be
Which
at the airport, but I'll swing in. I'll swing in and say hi. But I'll be at the airport. So.
hopefully Sean, I mean Big O doesn't come in and then start talking trash as well, because that wouldn't be not fun. I think my friend is also coming in for the show, so live reaction it's gonna be hitting you guys on Saturday. So either a lot of you guys are gonna be very excited and very happy to see my misery, or a lot of you guys are gonna be pissed off because I finally will go ahead and be right about.
You'll be right one of these weeks, probably, right? One of these weeks, you're going to probably get right.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I sure hope so. So, and then finally, we'll talk about some soccer, and we had some stuff going on with the USA national team. Very unfortunate, but like Big O said earlier today, it's a broken record. So, all right. So let's go ahead and let's talk some NXT. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, NXT was back, and it was back in Orlando. It was nothing big. They had the two big shows, and then they brought it back to Orlando, where all we got was what Sean said. It was kind of like the new logo look all around the screen and just blacked out. But then after that, there was nothing else more than just that. So the presentation of it still seemed okay. It was the same, just a little bit more of the new logo all around. But we had a great matchup to start off the night. We also started off with Stephanie Valcour versus Ren Sinclair. Talk to me, sir. What you think about Stephanie Valcour's debut on the NXT brand?
No, I think they did good, man. I like the Ren St. Clair putting her against, not putting her against a Cora Jade or big, necessarily a big name. Get her in there with Ren St. Clair, let her get some of her moves set in and things like that. So I thought it was good, man. I think they're doing good. They got a long time to set it up, and you saw more of it being set up as it goes. The women's division starting to get stacked.
It is on the NXT side, right? Like it's a lot of women on that
Yep. And you know
thing
what's
that
funny is I feel like it's going to be with Shawn Michaels in charge.
Mhm.
I feel like you're going to get the Attitude Era endings on a lot of these women's matches to keep them strong. And by that, do you know what I mean by that, or should I explain it?
You could explain it to the
Okay.
fans.
So in the Attitude Era, you had The Rock, you had Stone Cold, you had Triple H, you had did I say Undertaker yet?
No.
You had Undertaker. Mankind started working his way into kind of main events. So you had all these main event guys, and again, different time. Now I don't think it'll work as easily. Maybe you can come up with better ideas now. But the whole idea was to keep them strong. They were always three of them in a feud. So it'd be The Rock, Triple H, and Stone Cold. So if The Rock was versus Triple H, Stone Cold would come in, hit a stunner on Triple H, Rock would get the win. And vice versa. If it was them, there would always be one to keep the other one just as strong, because Vince didn't want anybody to look weak by losing without having the run-ins. And I think you're going to end up ultimately, because Shawn Michaels was also involved in that time, I think you might start seeing some of that play out in NXT in a hopefully a newer 2024 way. But I think you're going to start seeing that because they're going to get top heavy. You still have Delta to come in. You got Vacour's already in, Julia's in, Roxanne's in, Cora Jade's in. It looks like Nikita Lyons is going to probably finally get either pushed or pushed a little bit and then took to the main roster, because she was about to go to the main roster when she got injured the last time.
Yep.
So You know,
And
it's packed, man.
And not only that, but because of you mentioning that it's going to be packed, obviously in that matchup we actually had Cora and Roxanne interfere, and then obviously Julia came for the help. So then now it's finally official and set up. Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez versus Julia and Stephanie teaming up for Halloween Havoc, which is happening on the 27th of October. So this should be kind of like what you said. Like you got four talented women, all of them kind of like, they got the fan base. Everybody's, right now, obviously Cora just came back. Roxanne is the champion. Julia and Stephanie are the new toys for NXT. So you got all four of them being
All the
showcased.
ingredients are there.
And you know what? This is a good way to showcase all four of them again, because, obviously Stephanie's gonna be out of all of them, I want Stephanie to be the one that comes up on top. I liked her during her time in when she was going against Mercedes Moné back in the AEW world. So that's the only reason why I kind of like her. But I do like Julia. Julia is really good too. The only issue that sometimes I'm noticing a little bit, Sean, is that I think maybe the language barrier might be a little bit tough. That's all on their side, because I did see that when Stephanie challenged both Cora and Roxanne, they were her English wasn't the
Yeah,
greatest.
no, but at least they have the broken English works for what they're doing.
Yeah, it was a very
it's not perfect, but at least I saw a thing posted again the other day, and I started laughing because I had forgotten about it. And so somebody, like, I don't know if you remember Io Sky and Asuka at one point, when they were not when they're both in Damage Control, but Asuka was like a baby face at the time, and Io Sky went into the ring and they started yelling at each other in
I remember that.
Japanese. Somebody put the subtitles to it.
Wow.
And all it was like, I don't care that you don't know what I'm saying. And then they're like, I don't care that you don't know what I'm saying. And when you read the subtitles on it, just makes you laugh, because it's like, I wonder what the hell they're really sitting there and say. Sometimes there's like, and at the end she just goes, Asuka's like, stupid, 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 like 6 times in a row. And then she goes, in Japanese, but it's basically saying stupid. And it's like, and you watch it. So I wouldn't get upset if they let them, again, look at your demo. You probably got a lot of Spanish speaking, so why not let Vicor go?
Yeah.
And bring in that demographic there. I think it adds more to who she is, rather than trying to force her to be only English. Let her go back and forth, man. Let that comfort come and let people see who she really is. And then they start investing in who she really is, instead of her trying to, piece together a long promo of English that she's not, 100% comfortable with.
Well, last time, hold on a second before I continue. I keep hearing myself. Is that you? Do you have me on like I don't know if it's me or you, but I hear myself in the background. I get like feedback. Well, not feedback, but I guess I hear myself from your end.
Open?
No.
I only have one.
Let me know on the chat board if you guys hear me okay, and if you hear Sean okay.
I hear you fine. I don't hear the echo.
Because I hear like an echo. That's what I hear. I hear like an echo. So I hope that's not being heard by the people who are watching on the stream.
It's not being heard by me, so I don't know if they are or not.
Let me make sure. Hold on. Let me try. Let me check one more thing on my settings to make sure it's not me messing up here. Because I keep hearing myself. It's no, I don't. Okay, so that's fine. All right, we'll just go with it. Let me know, guys, if you hear something. If you hear like an echo or anything like that. No, it's good over here. Okay, good, perfect. All right, so it doesn't matter if I hear myself. Is that I don't care. It's just as long as you guys don't know, hear like a echo or anything like that. Okay, so What I was gonna inform you was a couple weeks ago when they were prepping up Roxanne versus Julia. They actually, when they had the press conference and they had him on the in the middle of the ring, they actually had Julia with like an interpreter with that guy. I guess he was like a Japanese guy or something. I don't remember, but he was interpreting for her, and because her English was a little bit rough as well. But even though it was rough, I appreciate it, guys. Like you said, I think sometimes they need to kind of like just run with it and let them be themselves. I think at the end of the day, we really don't care if
Yeah,
they're
you're gonna get more
actually
investment if they're really themselves instead of trying to be. And then, what if she says something that she's not 100% comfortable saying in English? It's gonna come off like she's hesitant.
yeah.
And another thing I saw today was there was actually I think an older actually I know it was an older one because it was when Cody was, I believe, in AEW at the time. They asked Bret Hart if they believe what Cody said about, in WWE, people write your stuff, so it's really not you saying it. And what Bret Hart said made a lot of sense. And it goes back to when back in the day, you made your own promos. You lived and died on your own promo work. You never writer. You
Mhm.
may have had Vince or the promoter saying, "Hey, we need you to talk about the bunkhouse match in South Carolina against Dusty Rhodes. I need 1 minute. Go." And
Mm.
that's what you got. But also what you got was that the person who's being interviewed's raw emotion toward it, not some guy that said, "Hey, this is what's happening in pulp culture today, so let's reference a couple of these and then we'll write out your lines for you," and then you're in the ring sounding like an idiot.
Yep.
So I think I believe a lot of it has gotten back to that to a point. I think there's still a lot more bullet points now than there was even back in the day, but at least now you're starting to see a lot of the emotion, or at least the people they're showing who they are, so you can invest in them, because that's very important, man. We talk about it all the time. Well, at least I do. Is that if they're not invested, they're not coming back. There's no
100%.
reason to. It's like, it's like DC, Marvel, all those. You get invested in those guys, so you keep going back to watch those movies. Star Wars,
That's true.
all those, you get
I don't know about
invested.
Star Wars, but
Oh yeah, man, come on. What are you, Star Trek?
well, another person that you mentioned that was obviously showcased was, as you said, Nikita Lyons, and obviously she went one on one against Lola Vice, and then you had Jada Parker get involved as well. And like you
Or
said, man,
that Shawn Michaels thing, right? Jada Parker interferes to keep Lola Vice strong.
yeah, yeah. And you know what's funny about the whole situation was, even though Lola Vice did lose this match, that's exactly what ended up happening. It kept Lola Vice strong because Lola Vice still gets a pop no
Yes.
matter what. Even
Yeah.
though she's been, she hasn't been like, I think her high moment was when she went against Roxanne Perez, and then actually after that she's kind of gone a little bit down, but she's still getting a pop. The fans still like her, and for sure Booker T loves her. Every time Booker T sees her, he starts like saying like she's like a spicy something or something. Like he's always excited to see her. So it was just interesting to see how they incorporated this, and obviously it looks like eventually what's going to happen, we're going to get Lola versus Jada Parker at probably Halloween Havoc. That's probably where they're aiming with this. Obviously they've been going back and forth, and you know what, that also, when Roxanne beat Jada Parker, that also, look, keeping her with Lola, that's like you said, that's another way to maintain her up there with those other girls, which again, it just seems like it's a lot of women in the NXT world,
A lot of women.
and you got to keep just, I mean, at this point, like, man, like half of the show is pretty much the women wrestling, and then the other half of the show is pretty much the men. So it's aggressive, which is crazy because you've seen more of women in I see more of NXT focusing on the women's side. I know they use, the men here and there, but more than the regular shows, like the main roster shows, like the Monday Night Raw and the SmackDown, you don't have that many women. So I'm wondering, when are they going to move are they going to move any of these women over to the main roster? And if they do, what's going to happen? Because the main roster, remember, they cut down Monday Night Raw. I think supposedly the idea is SmackDown's going to turn into 3 hours. I think that's what I heard.
That is the rumblings, yes, which I hope is not true. But hey, we never know.
No, I missed the 3 hour talk.
No, man, dude.
I
Like,
missed the
nobody
3 hour
watched
show.
the last hour. The show dropped by like 100,000+ viewers. It's a thing there. But what I think is happening, and again, I believe this is from the business side of WWE. Which show do we not have to have the most eyes on and still make good money?
Well,
NXT.
obviously, and that good thing that you mentioned this.
And they're running the women's program through that. So now you're still getting eyes on it. I'm not meaning it that way, but it's not hurting numbers because unfortunately there is still the damn BS narrative that the women's matches usually aren't that good, but lately I feel like some of the women's matches have been better than the men's matches.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately it's just there, man. And I don't know what can. I was hoping the women's evolution would lead to maybe a weekly show for them. But now I feel like that's what NXT is kind of becoming in a way. You still sprinkle in the men's matches here and there, but it's mostly like, it's all the women. And then they're getting a platform that they deserve and they're shining on it, man.
Well, let me now that you mentioned numbers and you mentioned, the women and all that stuff, I do have some information here. WrestleNomics is saying that the viewership kind of went down this for yesterday's show. So we had 639,000 viewers watching NXT. That's from the 18 to 49 graphic, which is down from the 874 viewers that they got on the previous show. So do you think we're going to see NXT in that same viewership number, that 600 range?
I think the 6 and 7s is where you're going to see them.
You don't think they'll ever surpass that?
You'll get the 8s when you throw in the CM Punks and the Ortons and some of the other, certain names on the main roster that might come down and do a match here or there.
But do you think that
if you're still pushing 6 and 7s, you're fine, man.
Do you think that they will ever reach the 8, 9, even break a mill without needing a CM Punk or Randy Orton on the show? Do you ever think they'll get to that?
I don't think that they place enough emphasis on the program unless one of their big stars are on it. Think about this. How much did they promote week 1 and 2 of NXT compared to week 3?
That is true. They promoted the crap out of week 1 and 2. And then week 3 just disappeared.
Week 3 was just the regular stuff. Like, okay, guys, we kicked it off. We went to cities to see how it went. Now they'll take the numbers back. They'll look at it and go, okay, where did we go? Did we break even? Or did we lose money? How does it work out? And they'll see if they want to take it on the road. Because the problem with taking it on the road is it's not just the wrestlers. And again, NXT talent does not get paid like the main roster talent. So I believe if NXT travels, WWE pays for the hotel. Because some of those guys don't make enough to where they can be traveling like they do there, So, again, you have that. Then you have logistics of, okay, we need a ring. We need to pay people to set up the ring, and usually that's done by unions. Then, you've got every other thing that goes along with it. Does it make sense to do that every week when you're going into? I think what they should do is bring back up the graphic. When is that? October 27th is the
yes,
is the
October
thing, right?
27th.
So what is the Tuesday? That's what, a Saturday?
No, that's a Sunday.
A Sunday. So you got the 26th, 25th, 24th, 23rd. The 22nd episode of NXT, I would have on the road near that area. Not in that area, but around there to where then they travel and they're there for the pay-per-view in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I don't know what's there to say, but that's how I would do it right now, because then you're not traveling all the time, wasting, not wasting money, but putting that money out there when you don't need to, because you have a place to do NXT for whatever, and that covers all this editing, cameras, everything is done by Full Sail. Why go out and spend all the money that you have to when you have that deal? I would only do it on when you're going to go out, or again, you're going back to Chicago. Okay, we can bring CM Punk in. Bam, it's going to be a hit. So things like that, I think you'll see on the road. Other than that, I think it stays, and I don't worry about the number as far as it dropping like that, just because there's no Orton, there's no Punk, it was what the main event was, the triple threat with Ego, Page, Javon Evans, and Wes Lee.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and again, when you look at how hard it was pushed week 1 and 2 versus this week, it's non-existent.
100%.
So whoever went to it found it. It wasn't like, the first 2 weeks, hell, they were promoting it. When did they announce that they were doing the live NXT on the first one in Chicago? It feels like for like a month or 2 ago, they had all that buildup, and then they did those 2 shows, and now they've got this number. So I don't think it's terrible.
I think they also wanted to kind of test the waters and see if by those 2 big shows, if it was gonna, drag on and have some of that overflow to the regular show. So now, because you had some new viewers on that show, on those first 2 shows, maybe they now become NXT fans and interested in it and be like, hey, let me tune into a regular NXT without having it to be CM Punk or Randy Orton being in those shows.
I think that's what this week showed, that, you probably didn't pick up any new.
Correct.
You stayed about your same NXT level, 600-700.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did mention it, of course, and that was obviously the main event, and that was the triple threat match between Ethan Page, Wes Lee, and Javon Evans. And of course, we ended up with Ethan Page winning it. Again, Evans did a really, really good job. He showcases himself so well out there. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. There was a lot of blunders. There was a lot of mishits in a lot of these matches, though. Now that I'm thinking about it, because in the Stephanie one, there was a couple of like missed opportunities, and on this one, it was some missed ones, and so it was in the Lola Vice one. So it was like you still see the.
It's just kind of odd to me being in the NXT thing. I would like to hear what because at least these guys and gals get to work on this through the whole week. Like they're working on this throughout. So to see, again, things happen. You slip off the rope. You think you're going to get the spring. You don't get the spring. Things like that always happen in wrestling, regardless if you're WWE, AEW, TNA, Impact, whatever the hell you are, New Japan Pro Wrestling, GCW, CCW. It always happens, man. There's going to be a bad rope, whatever it's going to be. You think you're going to hit this and you don't. So, but it is pro wrestling. That's why it's okay.
The only thing I didn't like about this match was that I guess Javon is now doing that high flying, what do you call that? The Randy Orton finishing move. So he does his move on the top of the
rope cutter thing that he does.
Yeah, the top rope cutter, but he hit it really well on Wes Lee. But people are kicking out of it. I mean, I would assume that if you did that, that would probably be one of his main moves, and probably somebody wouldn't have to like kick out of it. It's like, because people don't usually kick out of Randy Orton's finishing move, and this is kind of like a cutter off the turnbuckle. I would assume.
Well, it's like the Cody cutter. Think about the Cody cutter off the second rope.
Yeah, but I think that the turnbuckle one is even more extreme, because the turnbuckle one, like he's all the way on the top, and then he grabs them, and then he from high flying does it. Now Cody Cutter,
it doesn't make sense of kicking out of. That's a whole nother subject. Again, as you look back, the evolution of wrestling. I mean, think about this, man. And I know I'm sorry to go get off my lawn, old man, on you here, but Harley Race used to win matches with a suplex. He would hold you up, count to 5. Drop you down for a suplex. 1, 2, 3. That was the finish.
Yeah.
Cowboy Bob Orton was a shoulder breaker. 1, 2, 3. I mean, it's like Junkyard Dog used to be a knee lift. And Jake, it's like, think about Jake Roberts, the DDT back in the day. That was it. Now guys are freaking tipping up, DDT kip up. It's like,
well, that's true. We see that a lot more in AEW. But WWE does it too. I'm not gonna lie. And then
Oh yeah,
obviously,
Dude, everybody does it. It's the new way, but it's like so what is a finish now? And then that's what also the other thing that irks me on matches is like, why would you do a match where you hit 57 super kicks, 36 cutters, 3 DDTs, 4 stone cold stunners, and then the finish is a roll up?
yeah, that is true. That is true because that's how Ethan Page won. It was well. So
Well,
Evans
Ethan
did.
Page won because he stole Javon Evans, hit his finish, and then he rolled up Javon Evans as
Yeah,
he was going for the pin. I like that as a heel. I love that because that's stealing the victory that you didn't earn.
but you saw what he did. He did like a 360 type of
Yeah,
spinning
no,
ruler
yeah.
on the air. It was
He did
ridiculous
the
the way
thing
he
that
did that.
Orton was supposed to catch him with the cutter last week.
Yes, yes, yes. But that's been, I mean, that's insane. Obviously, the cutter on the turnbuckle seems like a finishing move, but then he does that other move where he spins
Yeah.
around in the air and then
Mhm.
lands on the
Yeah.
on the opponent. And you're right. I mean that like he has to kind of do over the top more than what he usually does. And like I said, he's a high flyer. The kid is very talented. The kid he just needs to gain some muscle
He's
and
not
he'll
even 20 years. I think he just turned 20, man.
yeah
He's going to
yeah.
be
I thought
around for a long time, bro. Long time.
But like you said, it is true. You do see that, and not only that, but you see I don't see it in WWE a lot. I see it a lot in AEW where they're like doing 20,000 chops as well, and that gets a little bit overboard. I could take some, but almost in every single match you start seeing some excessive over
Well, my
chops of
thing is
on the chest.
um, you got your guys that Shibata is known for chopping. Suzuki, known the Japanese guys are known. Roderick Strong's another one. He doesn't use it as much as I think he should. He was another one that was very good at the chop. Like that was part of his forte in the Indies was his chops.
Yeah,
So like I agree with you, but also again, if you do too much of stuff, it just doesn't make it. Um,
it's not worth it anymore. It doesn't.
not worth it is not what I'm saying. It doesn't. It's like Chris Jericho wrestling every goddamn week on Dynamite. It no longer like. Okay, great.
It
Chris
doesn't
Jericho,
excite us
great.
anymore.
Yeah, you just become like, oh, great, another chop.
And it's true
Oh,
that a lot.
yay, chop. Oh,
W
yay.
WWE is doing the same thing when it comes to the super kicks too. So I
Oh,
have seen
everybody
that.
does that. Everybody does it, man.
But
Everybody does it.
but like you said, Ethan Page did squeeze the win, and now that he won, obviously Halloween Havoc, they've had this before. It's like their Halloween death wheel, and now for the pay per view, we're gonna get Ethan Page versus Trick Williams for the in a Devil's Playground match. I don't know exactly what
Yeah.
that entitles. I'm assuming there's probably gonna be a lot of like stuff that they could use around the
Yeah, they're
circle.
gonna be like chairs chained to the ring, to the ring ropes. Probably, I would think. Like there's just gonna be some craziness everywhere.
Yeah,
I
they'll
remember Raven had one. What was this called? The Clockwork Orange match. I think when he was in TNA, and it used to be. So you had the 3 sides of the ring, and then the one side was the steel cage, and on the steel cage was the bat, and then you had a little bit of barbed wire. Then you had chairs and chains and everything. So you got to that one side, and then you could have fun after that, I guess.
Well, they weren't the only ones that are gonna be having entertaining different fight. Obviously, Obafemi came out. He's upset because Tony D'Angelo defeated him, and now they're gonna have it's called tables, ladders, and scare. I don't know why the scare portion of it.
Yeah,
I like
that's
you.
just gonna be chairs, but
Yeah, it should be chairs.
my
I don't know why they
question
try.
is this: is that match going to be? I guess it's a pinfall match, right?
I'm assuming. I have no
It's not
idea.
going to be like you got to put some. As soon as you put somebody through a table, it's over.
But if you look at look what it says: trick or treat, fight, spinners,
Trick or
spinner's
treat, street
choice.
fight, spinner's choice,
I'm looking at some of the stuff on on the
glove on a
wheel.
pole. Yeah,
Glove on a pole.
that used to be a big time match, man. A coal miner's glove on a pole match. That was back in the day. Dusty and One Man Gang had that, and you put that up there and then get it. And
Wow, that's out of my time because I don't remember those. But
up, buddy.
Sorry about that. And that's where No
Now it's
Doubt
turned into Jared
comment.
Hall on a pole match. Get off my lawn!
No Doubt that relates with No Doubt's comment. Love Old Man on the lawn, Sean. One of the best versions. There you go. Of course, what also is set up for next week is a couple matches, and they announced them, which is good because one of the things that I was having a little bit of riff with WWE was Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson not getting that much time in the SmackDown matchup. But they get now Io Sky and Kairi Sane, so it's gonna be cool. Again, it looks like these two girls are being set up eventually to move over to the main roster. Like the first they had Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Now you got Io and Kairi
These
Sane.
are your tests to see if you can go and if you can hang.
Yeah,
These are your tests.
these two girls are gonna make their way to the main roster if they
And they
still
have
keep
the
the same
look.
concept.
They have the look.
Oh,
That's the
100%.
thing. It's like
They look
both
great
of them.
against.
Yes. As a team, they look great.
They do, and you know
And
what?
individually, they also have something. Individually, each have their own thing too. But as a team, they're better.
My question is, what will Trick Williams do once he sees that Lash Legend leaves? Remember, they're the ones dating, so it'll
Yeah,
be
I
a
don't
little
think
bit.
Trick's too far behind, honestly, man. I think Trick's there now because they need to have the face there right now. Like I think
Yeah,
as it goes further down CW, because look, man, I know we've said this before, and I wish they would honestly put the thing to make NXT a third brand. And they do to a point more than they did ever before. I do say that. But they're still not making it that third brand. It's still shown as we're still developing. We'll throw people down there, but if you show out, you're getting called up to a main roster. You're not going to get put to a spot there. And I don't know if it's right. I don't know if it's wrong because again, if you don't call that a developmental, then you have to start paying them, and some of them aren't ready to be making the money that main roster talent is. You know what I'm saying? Because some of them are still
I agree.
learning. I mean,
I agree.
there's certain people there. I'm sure Ethan Page is making more than some of them. Some of those others are because they're using him to be more of a veteran leadership. Sean Spears, the same thing, but they're probably also being brought in as creative. They're probably being taught the WWE way to be a producer and everything else, so that when they end their wrestling career, they can go and be a producer for WWE or stay at NXT and do the same thing.
Yep. And one thing that we were talking about throughout this segment was again the top heavy of the women, and here's another reason why. I think our whole segment of NXT has been mostly about the women. And again, they did it again for next week. Now you got Julius teaming up with Stephanie, and they're gonna go against Fatal Influence, which Fatal Influence is actually interested in going one of them having the opportunity to go against Kalani Jordan for her belt. So it's like you have so much women, and like you said, some of them are probably getting paid pretty hefty, not too much, but somebody like the main roster, like I'm pretty sure Julia and Stephanie are getting
I'm
paid.
sure they're getting paid pretty well.
They're getting paid, but Fatal Influence, none of those three young ladies, I don't think they're making anywhere near the same amount as those other two girls are. But that doesn't mean you still can't showcase them, and look, now you're gonna get these girls going in a tag team match. And this obviously, if Fatal Influence wins, then we'll obviously have one of them challenge Kalani Jordan. So I really do feel that Fatal Influence, they're gonna cheat their way to a victory in this one, because obviously
Roxanne and Cora Jade are getting involved in this one way or the other.
that
Because
makes
they'll
100%.
add to the other tag. And again, it's the Shawn Mike. I said earlier about the Attitude Era. It's where you keep them strong, but they don't win.
Absolutely. And then the last thing we want to talk about, because we don't want to leave the guys out. We've been only talking about the women on the NXT side. I know we talked a little bit about Ethan and Evans and those guys, but we got the return of Andre Chase. He finally came back. He came back. Yes, the Chase use sign. Yes, we see it. He was finally back. He came during the match of Riley and Rich Holland. So that's obviously going to be probably the next matchup they're going to set up as well for Halloween Havoc, which would be, Andre Chase versus Rich Holland. I just felt like for the last two
I got a
shows, they
question
kind
real
of
quick. I'm
stayed
sorry,
away
because
from those guys.
I watch NXT, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't sit there and watch the whole thing. Is every match on Halloween Havoc going to be spinning the wheel? or is it only those two?
No, I think the majority of them are spending now. I could tell you this: the previous Halloween Havocs I have seen, I remember that they have the spinning wheel, so that's not new. They always had that wheel,
Yeah.
but I don't
Well, that's
remember
the
if it's
WCW thing that they used to do on Halloween Havoc was spin the wheel, make the deal. So every match they would come out and spin the wheel, and then that's the match that they would have.
man WCW vibes. Gotta love it. It's
And it
crazy.
was a cool concept. It's just like, but again, if you know wrestling, you know they're not spinning the wheel and going steel cage match, and all of a sudden, oh, there's a steel cage. Look at that. Like, okay.
Crazy, crazy. But that is our NXT talk for this evening. Now let's jump over to what a lot of you guys always like to hear us talk about. Well, some of you guys like us when we talk about UN, but we'll get to that. But of course, we're one thing both me and Sean can agree on is that we're both Miami Dolphin fans. So this is probably our most entertaining part of the show because we both agree on our team. We both feel different, we have different opinions on our team, so we get to think highly of them, but we also give them constructive criticism. So let's talk about the Miami Dolphins, obviously, and first and foremost, before we preview their game against Indianapolis this weekend, let's talk about what happened in our division, and that was the fact that the Buffalo Bills picked up Amari Cooper, and of course, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, the desperate Jets, went ahead and got, Devontae Adams. The other thing I wanted to bring up was the fact that the Patriots this past weekend, they did a move and they went ahead and put Drake May in. So now all of a sudden you're starting to see Drake May getting involved, and he had a pretty good showing. It wasn't something that was like horrendous. They actually
It made
scored.
the offense look better.
It definitely made the offense look better. And not only that, I honestly feel, with all due respect, but I think if he would have played against us, they probably would have beaten us if they would have started him first
It
instead
gave a
of
different dynamic to the offense, a little bit more of
yeah,
a gunslinger style type.
definitely. And he's gonna make his mistakes. We all
Oh,
know that, but it looks like they, as of right now, after that first game, and they were playing, who was it? They were playing the Houston Texans, I believe. Was it the
last week was
Texans?
the Texans, yes. Yeah.
So they made it competitive. It wasn't like, hey, they're completely, getting run down, or they didn't look incompetent, or not incompetent, but very boring when it came to that matchup when the Dolphins played them. So,
But the problem is that's how they have to win games, though. They have to keep it boring, muddy it up, and somehow that's the only way they're going to win games. They can't. They're not going to. They're not going to battle you. The Patriots are not battling anybody yet.
all right. So let me ask you, sir, what did you think about these moves? What did you think about Buffalo getting a receiver, the Jets getting another receiver, the Patriots starting out Drake May, and should the Dolphins do something, or what can the Dolphins do to kind of counter it?
I don't think the Dolphins need to do anything to counter it. The thing is this, okay? You went and you got what, another receiver for Brett Favre. I keep calling him damn Aaron Rodgers Brett Favre. For Aaron Rodgers, like, I mean, so what now? You're gonna take snaps away from what's his name? Number 5.
Wilson?
Wilson. Yeah. You're gonna take throws away from Wilson?
Well, here's the thing.
feel like
Here's the thing.
There's more here to the Buffalo move. I like that you got him somebody. I just don't know that it's going to be. I mean, Amari Cooper's what, 31, 32 years old now? I mean, yes, it adds a name, but is that Amari Cooper that we've been known to have? Will that make a change for the Buffalo Bills? And I don't think anything changes with the Jets. That's the thing. It's like, I don't know that necessarily that they got any. If anything, I think you might have more infighting because I feel that Aaron Rodgers is going to feed Devontae Adams. And then you're going to have the other receivers be like, hey, hello.
All right. So okay. So I agree with you partially. So Garrett Wilson, I believe is his name. He's going to be a little bit pissed because he's going to go ahead and he's not going to get as much targets. But let's keep it real. He's been dropping some of those passes left and right as well. He hasn't been the superstar receiver that the Jets needed him. And then here's the other thing. I like the move because let's be very honest. Mike Williams, I believe that was the receiver who dropped like 2 key passes in that game. If he would have just caught one of them, like the one that went like, I don't know, I think it was like 30 yards or something down the field, where he slipped and it got intercepted by Buffalo. They probably would have been on field goal range, and they probably could have at least tried to kick another field goal or even go for a touchdown, even though the field goal kicker missed a whole bunch of field goals that game.
Yeah.
But still, but it makes sense why they went ahead and got,
I'm not saying it doesn't make
Devontae.
sense. It's just like, but again, it's another thing to me, and no doubt, I think you're right there too. The idea is to take throws away from Lazard and the double teams off Garrett.
But
But the
Lazard
other
has been doing well.
But here's the thing, though. But Lazard's been doing well. Why? Because he's played with Aaron Rodgers. Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is one of the probably the quarterback the most that plays off script. And by I mean, like, if you're running down, if he thinks he can thread it to the outside of the shoulder, he expects you to stop and be there for the outside shoulder throw. That's what they did in Green Bay. That's what Devontae Adams, I feel like they're going to try to get that to work back in, and that's where Lazard, and I think that's what hurts Wilson is Wilson's running his routes the way he's supposed to. He's still not on the same page as Rodgers. Rodgers sometimes thinks he's going to stop, and he doesn't, and then he'll throw it to the back shoulder, which Wilson's not there for, and it just hasn't looked good. So I think this can at least maybe help them a little bit, but I just don't see a change because, again, to throw the ball, the offensive line's still not that good.
That's true. The offensive line is still not that
And
good,
Rodgers
but
ain't scrambling.
no, and keep in mind, Rodgers has been limping a little bit out there. Every time he gets hit, I kind of like, if I'm a Jets fan, I would be nervous because he seems like he's having, like, he's grabbing his, I guess it's like his lower thigh or whatnot, and he's
Having
like,
everything up there from
so
the
it's
Achilles up. It's probably all because it was like
yeah.
his ankle and his calf, which again before it was his Achilles, now it's ankle calf, and it's just working its way up, man. And,
It is scary every time he gets hit. It looks like he's about to get
and
hurt.
he took the play calls away from the guy that supposedly from Tackett, who was Aaron Rodgers' guy. You give it to the other guy, and I don't know that they looked a lot better.
No. The play calls were better, in my opinion. They were better, at least in this Monday night game. The only thing that killed that game was all the penalties that they were having, both sides of the ball.
Also, I don't think Rodgers was playing as bad as he did the week before either. He played better this past week than he did the week before.
He did. And what No Doubt says is definitely going to open up the run game for Brees Hall, but it's also going to take away some passes that are going to Brees Hall because they've been using him a lot and throwing the football to Brees Hall.
It's going to see how they scheme it up. It all comes down to, okay, now you got him. What are you going to do with him? Because I just don't see, like, to me, it's like, okay, and again, I get it. It's only, what did he do, a third? Was he a third or what was he? Which one was third? One of them was a third round, I thought, right?
Draft pick wise?
Yeah, what they end up getting on the deal? What was the deal?
Oh, for the Devontae Adams deal? I think they gave a third round pick for him with a potential to go to a second round pick, depending on his production. I think that's what it was. Because I think the Amari Cooper deal was a little bit less, because obviously Amari Cooper is not in the same level as Devontae Adams. So let me see. What was the Amari Cooper?
I think the thing that surprised me the most with the Amari Cooper thing is, and again, I don't watch enough Cleveland Browns or anything like that, but like, have they just thrown the towel in? They've just thrown the towel in for the season?
So the Bills received Cooper and a 2025 sixth round pick, and in exchange, the Cleveland Browns get a 2025 third round pick and a seventh round pick for 2026. So they get a 2025. They swapped. No, well, they kind of swapped the sixth and the seventh, and then for Amari Cooper, they kind of got the third round pick, while the Bills got Amari Cooper. So that's kind of like the deal. It's not a bad deal, to be honest with you.
It's not a bad deal, but for me, with the Patriots, the Bills with where they're at right now, I think you need the draft picks, man, more than you needed. I mean, unless maybe they think they're Amari Cooper away from Super Bowl. I don't know. I don't know what the thinking is there, but like, your team is strapped right now. You had to get rid of all those guys last year, and now you're still trading draft picks.
Well, here's the thing. I think the Bills realize that they have a shot at obviously making a run, even though they kind of had to move on from some of their players. And it looks, unfortunately, like they're going to win the division. So they still have that mentality of, hey, we can't just wait for next year. Let's see if we could get lucky this year. And you never know with injuries. Something could happen to Patrick Mahomes. Something could happen to Lamar Jackson. Something could happen to any of these guys, and it opens the window for Buffalo. And if they're just
Never
a
something
man away,
well happened to Josh Allen too, and then now you lost a third
true.
round pick. You got this guy here, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, we'll see. It's got to play out on the field. I mean, they're good players, so they should make a difference. What kind of
Yeah.
difference? I don't know.
And the Raiders, so the Raiders received a 2025 conditional third round draft pick, and it could improve to a second round selection. I guess based on his performance, it says if Adams is the first or second team All Pro this season, or is on the Jets active roster for the AFC Championship game or Super Bowl. Wow! So if he has a pretty good run, or if they make it to the AFC or Super Bowl, that pick moves up from a third to a second round. So
And the
it's still
Jets,
not that
the
bad.
whole salary remaining.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was big. And then
Yeah.
obviously we spoke about Drake May and him starting. So my opinion about the Dolphins, you said the Dolphins don't need to make any moves. My opinion with the Dolphins is, you know, to counter these moves, what's the right move? The right move is to get our team healthy, right? That's the right move, in my opinion. Making sure that Tua is ready to come in against Arizona after this week, and making sure that we get Bradley Chubb eventually healthy. That way we don't rush him and get him hurt. Those are the things. Getting our guys ready. I don't think bringing in one guy here or there is going to make a big difference for the Miami Dolphins
Unless
at
you
the
get
end
an
of the day.
old lineman, maybe, but I don't know what's out there.
Not even. I don't.
Well,
I don't.
that's
I
the
mean,
thing. Like, there's nobody out there that's going. Even like I know people have said like Crosby and all that. What we would give up for them would hurt us ultimately down. And I mean, do you again? If we're sitting at 6-0 right now, if we're at 6-0 or 5-0, and now Jalen Phillips gets hurt, maybe I'm saying okay, let's try to go get Crosby or something. But I just we're not there, man. We're not
Well,
there.
then, this is a good way to go out to our next topic, which is Chris Greer. So obviously, we know that the Miami Dolphins are kind of in a bind. We don't know what to expect. If the Dolphins win this weekend, then they're 3-3, and then Tua comes back. We don't know how good the Dolphins are going to be with Tua. And now you're looking at our schedule. Our schedule, it doesn't look as hard. There's a doable. I think we have enough to at least possibly win 10 games. I think that gets you in the playoffs. But here's my question to you, Sean. Chris Greer, should he do a move, or Chris Greer not doing any move? Is this a sign of maybe his time is running out?
No, I think if he did a move, it would look desperate. Honestly, I mean, if
Why
you
you
sit
say that?
there and because all right, so you're sitting here and now you're going to make these wild moves at what 2-3, trying to go to 3-3, and now you're trading for using what's out there, Max Crosby, Hassan Reddick. Like, I feel that's stretching. Like that's like, oh, I don't believe in the team that I made, so let me go. I need to shore it up. That's
Would you
that
have
that to
would you
me
have
that would be him saying, I messed up. Now I got to desperately figure out how to save my job.
Would do you feel did you feel that same way when he did that move for Bradley Chubb and traded for him at that
No,
time?
no, not at that
But
time. No.
why not? Why not? Because the team was talented either way, with or without Bradley Chubb.
Yeah, but I felt like we needed the other pass rusher. We
At
needed
that
to have
time,
him on yeah. For what they got him for? Like, yeah, why not?
I don't know. It felt like a desperate move. It felt like a move that was rushed because of the whole situation with, hey, we lost that first round pick too because of our Stephen
And
Ross's
you lost all those
situation.
things, and then you got him for what was the
I
Bradley?
think they gave away. They had to give away I think it was a third rounder for him as well. Um, you could look it up for me if that's okay with you. But yeah, it was. I felt like it was like that trade is now starting to look like, hey, either a desperate move by the Miami Dolphins by Chris Greer at the time, or like a vindictive move, in my opinion. Like he was pissed at Steven Ross for costing us that first round pick. That he said, "Screw it. There's no point in me holding up to this draft pick. Let me go after a guy and bring him and see if he makes a difference." I think that's what I got from that trade. And now it's making even more sense. And the reason I want to go ahead, and while Sean is looking that up exactly, the reason I wanted to bring that up is because a lot of the moves that Chris Greer has done over the last offseason kind of is starting to bring even more doubt if this is the right guy. I don't know if maybe the whole Mike McDaniel situation is causing him to also like look dumbfounded out there, because you're seeing Mike McDaniel struggle, but now I'm starting to see the front office struggle even more than before. And I'll give you an example why. So let's and I had mentioned this to Sean, and I was gonna inform Sean of what these moves were that kind of affected the Miami Dolphins. So obviously, during the offseason, we had Andrew Van Ginkel, and Andrew Van Ginkel was one of our biggest stars. Now, we all know that he was an injury prone. He got injured at the end, so the Dolphins were a little bit worried. But let's take a look at what he went ahead and got. He got 10 million at in Minnesota. The Miami Dolphins went ahead and signed Shaq Barrett, and they paid him close to 7 million. It was 6.75 million. So it was kind of like a 3 million difference. But then Shaq Barrett retires 3 days later, right after, what was it? I think it was right before the practices started. So we lost him, which is that 6.75 right there is kind of wasted, because we could have used that on Van Ginkel. And then not only that, but then we had Neville Gallimore, who got 1.75 mil, and we got Ter Tart, who got 567,000. If you add those three guys up, there's pretty much your 10 million that they
but
could have gotten for Andrew Van
what you're not
Ginkel.
putting in there is, did Van Ginkel want to return to the Dolphins?
Van Ginkel did want to return to the Dolphins. He did. He did. That Drew Rosenhaus mentioned it. Drew Rosenhaus.
Oh my God, Drew Rosenhaus! It's gotta be legit.
He wanted.
Yes.
If you, I don't know if you listen to Sports Extra, but when they mentioned it, like I think it was like
the guy's agent sitting on the news saying, "Oh, he wants to come back," talking to the fan base. Of course, he's going to say he wants to come back.
No. You could tell that Van Ginkel. What's up, Cat for Life? Sorry, I clicked it too quick. I'm not. Van Ginkel wanted to stay with the Dolphins. We could tell that he enjoyed his time being here, and on top of that.
I'm not
on
saying
top of that, he was gonna.
Outputs were with Brian Flores as running the defense.
What are you talking about? He was being successful with the Vic Fangio defense, and now you're bringing Anthony Weaver. You're bringing a different defensive coordinator who honestly, let's keep it real. Andrew Van Ginkel would have been flourishing as well, because Anthony Weaver could have had the same type of concept as Brian Flores for the most part.
That's a lot of what ofs or could ofs. I mean, that's the only thing. Like, we sit here all day and be like, "Oh, Andrew Van Ginkel wanted to come back to the Dolphins. Oh, Chris Greer didn't offer him the amount of the money or the deal."
He didn't. Because Drew Rosenhaus mentioned it. He actually mentioned it on Sports Extra, saying the Dolphins weren't even close. And I know he's his agent, but let's keep it real. That was like, I feel that he's not. I know Drew Rosenhaus probably mostly lies here and there, and that is his obviously that is his agent. He wants to sell his player, but I feel when it comes to the Andrew Van Ginkel topic, he's being honest. I felt like the Dolphins wanted him, but didn't want to pay for him. And then you had three guys here: Shaq Barrett, Neville Gallimore, and Ter Tart, who are no longer with the team. They're all gone. One of them retired, the other one got cut, and the other one left. So like they let three guys go pretty much. Well,
right, but let me ask you something here, okay?
And so we lost on Van Ginkel.
Hold on a minute.
Getting me emotional.
This deal is for 20 million, 14 million guaranteed. So that's 7 million guaranteed.
Who?
Van Ginkel.
10 mil.
He agreed to a 2-year deal worth 20 million with 14 million guaranteed. So that's 7 million each year.
But you gave let's say that's how much each year?
The guaranteed money is 7. Now with incentives, I don't know, maybe it's 1 sack and he
Okay,
gets
so
$1 million.
7 mil
It could
guaranteed
go
each
up, but
year.
it's basically 7 million guaranteed each year.
We gave Shaq Barry 7 mil.
Exactly. So how do you know what the offer was to because Drew Rosenhaus said?
But what I'm trying, you're just pointing out my case here that guaranteed is 7 mil, and you gave Shaq Barrett 7 mil pretty much, and he retired. Like, why would you make that decision to give Shaq Barrett that money and not give it to Van Ginkel?
Dance though,
huh?
Maybe he wanted to do the Chris Bosh. I want the Dolphins to pay more for me to stay than if I go and play for somebody else.
I don't think so. I think it's it's what is the what is the common denominator here with when it comes to negotiations for Chris Greer? He always lets these guys test the market. And then and once he lets them test the market, he's not bringing them back. He doesn't even go and say, "Hey, I'm going to go ahead and recounter it or go ahead and get." He makes one offer and that's it. You don't take it, move on. I don't need you on the team. I could go and get somebody else. And in this one, it burned him. And he's not the only one that got burned. Here's why. So now let's talk about another player that actually was probably really well liked in the team. I know Big O loved him a lot, and that was Brandon Jones, who is now with the Denver Broncos. He signed a 3-year, 20 million. Was it 20 million? 3-year, yeah, 23 million, 20 years. 20 years. 3 years, 20 mil. So 12.5 million is guaranteed. So check this out. The Dolphins did not match that, right? Deshaun Elliott, another safety that we had. He got 2 mil he got 2 years, 6 million. So he's getting 3 mil each year. And then here comes Poyer, who we have, who got 2 mil for 1 year. Look at the rankings on PFF. And I know you're not a big fan of PFF. I am. Brandon Jones is ranked 4th in safeties on PFF. Deshaun Elliott ranked 9th in PFF. Poyer, 83rd. Now explain to me, why in the world would you go and settle for Poyer for 2 mil and not pay Deshaun Elliott, who got 6 mil? So just give him an extra mil, 3 years each year. You could have you still would have had Deshaun Elliott on the team. And if you're looking at Brandon Jones, he got 12.5 million guaranteed. 12.5. So if you're looking at 3, so 20 divided by 3, he was getting 6.6 each year. Why didn't you keep one of these guys? You're making your team older. Brandon Jones was younger. Deshaun Elliott was younger than Poyer. Like, those are bad decisions. That doesn't make any sense why he did these moves. And we want to blame, the coaching, and we want to blame, Mike McDaniel, but we need to start blaming as well Chris Greer and some of these moves that he made, especially this past offseason, because they just look wrong.
All of them moves were necessarily Chris Greer alone.
Well, we didn't have a defensive coordinator. We didn't have a defensive coordinator, so he had to be the one making these decisions. And on top of that, Mike McDaniel is the type of coach that doesn't even get involved on the defensive side of the ball. So that's Chris Greer making these moves. Are you telling me that Mike McDaniel had to say when it came to Wilkins leaving? Absolutely not. That was Chris Greer all day. That's the fact that Jalen Phillips.
This is a business, man. You can't just write checks to everybody and be like, "Hey, we're good. Let's go."
I understand that, but what I'm trying to
no problem. AVG, what do you want? Oh, get back on here. Come here, buddy. We got you, man.
But
come on.
Sean, I'm giving you
what 4 million? Come here, buddy. Come here. We got you.
But I'm giving you examples. I'm giving you examples of guys that they paid.
The problem with what you're doing. Yes, we're sitting here saying, "Oh, you gave 7 million to this guy and 10 million to this guy, and this guy got 10 million here and 7 million here." But what about the other deals that were going on everywhere else to make things fit? We're not in there to know, okay, long term, can we afford AVG next year at that price? Or does he want a 3-year deal with the Dolphins, but he'll go 2 years somewhere else? Like, there's other things that play into
But Sean, a lot of the deals that Chris Greer did with
guys that he got for free agency. Oh, that's stupid to let the guy walk. Yeah, but at the same time, football's more than just, hey, he made 10 million there. We paid this guy 7. Why didn't we keep that guy? More things go into it than just that.
I understand that, but if you look at what Chris Greer brought in return, a lot of those guys are 1 year, 2 year deals. So I mean, I could understand if you probably said, "Hey, I'm gonna bring Calais Campbell and keep him for 5 years for this amount, and it's cheaper than getting Christian Wilkins."
No,
That's not
because
the
they're
case. They
trying to
only
get
signed
to the
Calais
draft
Campbell for a
next
year.
year.
Say that again.
They're trying to get to the draft next year. They got to have money available, man. Like, you can't just spend everything and every last dime of everything to have it rolling over.
And I understand
There's
that,
other
but what
things
I'm
that can happen. What happens if you spend all that money on those guys? Okay, now here we go. Let's do this. Wilkins got
kind of
injured.
cancel each other. They cancel each
But
other. That's what
Wilkins
I'm
got
trying to tell
injured,
you.
right? Wilkins got injured and has been out for a game or so.
Well, I'm not knocking the Wilkins. I thought
Hold
that was the
on,
right
hold
move to
on,
let him
hold
go.
on. So we signed Wilkins. Now he's out. Are you saying the same stuff? If AVG gets hurt later on, are we still saying the same thing?
I'm not knocking about the Christian Wilkins. I thought the Christian Wilkins
I'm
decision was
saying
the
the
right
same thing, though.
decision.
If we signed AVG and he gets hurt, are you still saying the same thing? Like, oh well, look, Chris Greer did a good job. He signed him, but he got hurt.
Depending on how serious the injury is, like if he would have been out for like the whole season, then yeah, I probably would not be using this analogy. I would probably be like, okay, you know what? It was a bad decision to re-sign Andrew Van Ginkel, let's say. But if he was hurt for like 2 games or something like that, but I see his productivity was strong the first 2 games or 3 games, then no, I'm not gonna go ahead and knock
The
him
whole thing
for
is
it.
you have to look at as a whole, though. You can't just be like, oh, he got $7 million to go to Minnesota, and we paid $7 million for a guy that retired. But there's other keys into. It's not like
But
you guy out.
But look what you just finished saying. This guy left for $7 million, and then we got another guy for the same amount of money, and then he retired on us. Like the
1
money
year.
wasn't
1 year,
money
$7
wasn't.
million, not 2 years, $14 million, 2 year, $20 million. That
Sean, you're
makes
making
a
it.
change, bro. That
Sean,
changes things.
Sean, you're making it seem like it's like millions of dollars. Christian Wilkins, yes, but not Andrew Van Ginkel, not Brandon Jones, not Deshaun Elliott. And they're 2 year deals, 3 year deals. They're not
You
4 or
do
5 year
understand
deals.
that when that guy gave us the $7 million, that allowed us to get back over into the positive.
Yes.
Okay. So if we sign AVG to that same stuff, we're cutting people to stay at the salary cap because we can't keep them.
Well, it depends because remember, Chris Greer supposedly is the mastermind when it comes to making cuts and all that stuff.
Brandon Shore is the money man. Brandon Shore is the money guy.
Okay, yeah, but
obviously, what is it, Ellisberg of the Dolphins?
Yeah. Okay, so but at the end of the day, you find ways to get these guys in here and out because the guys that you've been bringing in are veteran old guys at a buck here and there, and it eventually is not panning out. It's hurting us. We're losing.
Well, and then Cat for Life did say, or was it Cat for Life? No doubt. No doubt said the guy, retiring brought in Agba. Agba's been pretty good.
So think about it. Imagine if Shaq Barrett would have been not in or would have not retired and would have been stayed on the team, and he wouldn't be giving us the production that Agba is. That probably would have been another bad call by Chris Greer, another bad decision on his end. In a way, thankfully,
go talk.
I
just think we're doing. You're trying to tell me how am I saying that, but then you're going with this. It's like, bro, like it's not that simple to be like this guy or that guy. Like it doesn't play out that way. There's other factors. It's not like they said, oh, let's get the retiring guy and give him $7 million and we'll let AVG walk. And or maybe they did. But at the same time, we weren't in that conversation to know.
They should have been in that conversation. That's what they should have gone ahead and made.
I was not in that conversation, and I'm not trusting a damn thing Drew Rosenhaus says.
Again, these are decisions that Chris Greer made, which seem to have backfired. He played his cards wrong. In other words, is what I'm trying to prove. He decided to let AVG walk, and it's
Has the defense been the problem this year?
Against more talented teams, yes. I think you saw them struggle against Buffalo.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
Against Seattle, they had us in the game. If we had an offense playing, we could have beat Seattle.
Yes. There's been obviously the issues on
Same
the
thing with the
field has
Titans.
been more with offense.
Yes,
Yeah.
but again, so we're sitting here talking about.
I mean, do you want me to bring up
all the stuff on the defense, and it's
do,
like,
do you want me to bring up Connor Williams and why we didn't resign Connor Williams and he's playing starting over there in Seattle? I mean, that was a bad call too. I have the ones in the defense that came up.
do you
But
know?
Connor Williams is another good example of a guy who
But
should have
again,
been re-signed with the Dolphins.
Do you know what the situation with Connor Williams was? Because I don't. But Drew Rosenhaus, if you want to believe what he said he'll be ready to play by the end of this year. He'll be back to play. So do we say, okay, well, he'll be back at the end of the year, so let's give him money to play, and then who plays center for us at the beginning if we don't go get Aaron Brewer? Liam Eichenberg?
That's what they did last season, didn't they? That's exactly what they did last
go?
season.
How did
And
it
as a
go?
matter of fact, they even had they even
It's
had Liam Eichenberg.
serviceable, but is it what you want to go into the season knowing that, okay, Liam's our center if Connor Williams doesn't come back?
I mean, personally, I feel like they could have easily gone ahead and
But you act like everybody's
signed both of them.
because the Dolphins offer money, they're going to take it. That doesn't work that way, man.
I'm
not
not
just
saying
like-
that they're not offering money, they're going to take it. What I'm trying to say is, are the Dolphins is I think Chris Greer is making mistakes in the sense of, hey, I'm not gonna go, like, he has like his mindset is more of like, I'm gonna offer this to this player, and if he doesn't take it, he kind of takes offense to it and says, okay, go kick rocks, go find it somewhere else. And they have, and now when they've signed with other players, which is typically what happens with the Miami Dolphins, when we have players on the team and they move and they go to a different team, they usually succeed, they do really well. That's exactly what's happening right now with a lot of these guys. And yes, I was mentioning some of the defensive players, but Connor Williams is another guy. I was going to mention an offensive player, Elijah Higgins. Now, Elijah Higgins, a tight end who was a 6th-round pick back in 2023, he was released by the Dolphins. The Dolphins had high expectations on him, right? He's supposed to be a tight end. He was supposed to be really well. All of a sudden, Elijah Wiggins goes to the Arizona Cardinals. And what happens? Yes, his numbers are not the greatest, but I'll throw the numbers that he has. 21 catches, 215 yards, 3 touchdowns in 16 games. You're right. They're not the best numbers, but you want to know something? He has 3 touchdowns, right? Julian Hill and Tanner Conner don't have a single touchdown. They're the only 2 tight ends in the NFL right now that don't have an actual
that's
touchdown.
Chris Greer. Chris Greer picks the 3rd and 4th tight end for the team, I'm sure. Let's get rid of Elijah Higgins. I mean, has McDaniel used the tight? Honestly, Chris Greer should get rid of all of them. Jonnu Smith, all of them should be gone. We don't use them any damn way.
Again, I don't know the concept. I'm not going to go ahead and
that's
just
what I'm
blame.
saying, though. We're saying Chris Greer and this and that, but they got to get used too, man. Remember, Mike McDaniel's first year, they said, we're going to give $10 million to Mike Gesicki to see if he works in this offense. He didn't even try him in the goddamn offense.
Okay, but let me ask you something, because let me go back a couple of years ago. This whole situation with Chris Greer and Brian Flores was because Chris Greer wanted to make transactions and stuff like that, and Brian Flores was kind of holding him back. He was like, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want this. I don't want that. If I'm not mistaken.
No. Brian Flores was going to Stephen Ross saying Chris Greer wasn't getting him the guys that
he wanted, right? The guys that he wanted. Chris Greer was willing to give him guys, but not the guys that he wanted. So that means that Chris Greer was going to go ahead and get the guys that he wanted. Chris Greer's guys that he wanted. Mike McDaniel.
In the upper echelons, it was tank. It wasn't let's field a Super Bowl team. It's a different time.
Okay. Doable. But now let's move on to the next coaching staff, Mike McDaniel. And then when it comes to Mike McDaniel, when it comes to the defensive side of the ball and even the offensive side of the ball, I know that Mike McDaniel has a say here and there, but you don't think Chris Greer has, like, I personally, my view of both of those guys, I feel it's like 50-50. I feel that Mike McDaniel gives his opinion and Chris Greer says, I feel this guy's better. And then they kind of come to like a mutual agreement. And then they say, okay, let's go after this guy. That's how I feel, because I don't feel like Mike McDaniel is the type of guy who doesn't he looks like a guy who gets pushed over. I'm just saying that's just my initial reaction of what I think about him. It looks like he's not the type of guy who's gonna fight you back for what it is. If Chris Greer says, "Nah, man, I'm not gonna sign Connor Williams," I don't think that's the right move. I don't see Mike McDaniel saying, "No, Chris, you gotta freaking sign him, bro. We need him," or "Don't worry, I'll get him to what he needs," etc., etc. I feel like Mike McDaniel is gonna be the coach that's gonna be like, "Okay, that's fine." That's just based on his personality, based on what we have
But
seen on
see,
the
that's
field
where
and stuff like that.
I disagree with that in a way, because I feel that Chris Greer has gone out and gotten the guys that McDaniel has listed. I need this certain type of tight end. Now, maybe it's not the best tight end in the league, but it fits the criteria that McDaniel wants for his tight end in the offense. I need this guy, and this guy, and they go in a, they try to, do the best they can. I mean, you're not going to sit there and get every 5-star player, but I guess you try to figure out which ones work and which ones fall into the realm of what you want to do. Now, when you talk about the defensive side, I guess they were taking the coordinators, the guys that were still there. I don't know. I don't know what they were doing there on that end of it. But also, I know Chris Greer pays for pass rushers, shut down corners, and usually that's pretty much it on the defense. I mean, look what Zach Sealer got compared to what Christian Wilkins got on the Raiders. And to be honest, yeah, maybe Wilkins is having a great year. Are the Raiders?
Well, no, he was having a decent year. He wasn't having a
No,
bad
I'm not
one.
saying that he isn't. I mean, Christian Wilkins is going to get numbers. I don't care where he goes. He can be playing on a 0-16 team. He's going to get his numbers with his tackles and things like that. Look at the guard. Everybody's like, oh, we should have kept the guard, Robert Hunt, and this and that. He's in Carolina. What are they doing? They're paying him $20 million to, what? Now who's quarterbacking now? Andy Dalton? He's protecting Andy Dalton.
It just again, man. I gotta put the blame. Obviously, I'm not gonna sugarcoat and say, hey, Mike McDaniel doesn't play a part in this, because obviously he's the coach and he's gonna go ahead and give his opinion. But I also feel that Chris Greer, when you're a GM, and let's think about this rationally. If you're the GM and you see that your coach is making these calls, and you're noticing that the coach is not getting results, especially now more than before. And when it comes to last season and the year before, when it came to crucial games against hard division teams and teams that were going to be challenging for the playoffs and for the Super Bowl, and you saw that it wasn't working, you start to lose your faith on that coach. So you have to step in order for you to go ahead and make some decisions to help that person out. And that's what I felt or feel that Chris Greer has eventually does. Because I do feel Chris Greer is not a pushover. Unfortunately, I do feel Mike McDaniel is a pushover. I do feel that if
Chris Greer is not a pushover, but he
of
will
course he is. He will. He will if he has to.
in to get whatever he needs to for the team. He'll try to get he'll bend to if the coach wants this player, he's going to try to go and get him. I mean, that's the ultimate thing is this. The buck stops at Chris Greer. He's the GM of the team. Whether you like his moves, you don't like his moves. Unfortunately, and as you're saying about the coach, you can sit there and talk to the coach all you want. But here's the thing, and I know O says it all the time. He's not going to get a chance to hire another coach. So his wagon is hitched to Tua and McDaniel at this point. I mean, there's no going to or what are you now? You're going to start calling out your head coach and doing things to demoralize the team because now you see the head coach is the wrong head coach. You're hurting yourself. You're setting yourself up for failure at this point.
But you're also setting yourself
up
for
failure. Who's saying they're not having those conversations and it's just not going through?
But you're also setting yourself for failure, because what's happening is if you're seeing that your team is not delivering and you made these decisions based on what the coach wants and it's not getting results, it's like a train running into a wall eventually. It's
No, it's
eventually
a
going to run
train
into
running
it.
on a track that has no ending. It's just going to run right off the rails. That's going to have to go right into the canyon. That's what's
Yeah,
going to happen. That's
so
what's
it's a failing. It's a failing no matter what. Whether you go ahead and start making those calls and be like, you know what, Mike McDaniel, I'm gonna have to go ahead and you know make a decision on this player. I'm gonna have to make a decision on that player. I'll take your decision. I'll keep it. I'll go ahead and analyze it and take it for what it's worth. But I'm gonna have to be the one who's gonna be like, hey, I have to make the decision, yes or no, if we should keep him. And I'm pretty sure he's gonna be like with certain players, he probably will have to be like, yes, that's what I would. If I was Chris Greer's shoes and I go to Mike McDaniel and I see that my coach is not delivering, but yes, I already all my eggs are in that basket with Mike McDaniel. I gotta go ahead and start creating some type of like, hey, if this guy's not gonna deliver me what I expected from him, I have to start making something out of. I can't just lose my job. I can't just wait until and
But
sit
that's the
back and just be
problem,
okay about
Frankie.
it.
He's losing his job if Mike McDaniel doesn't get the job done.
Uh,
Yes, it falls on Chris Greer hired him.
No,
Chris Greer,
you want to know what
Chris
you want to know
Greer
why?
hired Brian Flores, didn't work out. Hired Mike McDaniel, not working out. Ultimately, the buck is going to stop on Chris Greer. Whether you like his decisions,
Look,
don't
look
like his
when
decisions, anything there, it's going to come down to that decision.
yeah, yes and no, because look what No Doubt just finished saying. He said Mike was not his first pick. He was what was left. The other coaches that year went elsewhere, and that is true. And here's where I feel that maybe the buck won't end with him
No, but
losing his
also
job
here's
because
the thing, though. The other ones that they elected to interview went elsewhere.
yes,
Okay, through the ones that they had the interview process, they could have said, let's open it back up and see if we can talk to a couple more people." I don't know what's available as head coaches. I mean, now we know Vrabel's out there, but like I just again to go from Mike Vrabel from Mike McDaniel to Mike Vrabel. Do you know how much stuff you would have to change with the Dolphins right now to go to Mike Vrabel's style of playing?
I'm not gonna go ahead and say that you know changing coach would necessarily cause Chris Greer to lose his job, and
Oh,
I'll give you a reason why. I'll give you a reason
name
why.
a team that got 3 coaches. Name a team.
I'll give you a reason why. I'll give
Go
you a
ahead.
reason why.
Go ahead.
If you're able to get a quarterback that all of a sudden looks promising, obviously because of the whole situation with Tua, and you bring that quarterback and there's promise, but the team is still under delivering, I have the feeling that Stephen Ross will say, you know what? Yes, you know, shame on me in the first time. Shame on you. Shame on me. Now the third time is your last strike. You can't get the job done. You don't get the right coach in hand. Then you gotta go. And I feel that that could happen if the Dolphins end up having a bad season and end up getting a quarterback that looks promising. And I think that would still save Chris Greer's job. Now, do I want his job to be saved? No, I want him to go as well. I want him to get fired along with Mike McDaniel if he can't turn it around. That's the way I look at it. I don't believe I lost faith in Chris Greer. I've always lost faith on Tua. I never I and not and again I don't want a lot of you guys say, Frankie, you bash on Tua and you're a Tua hater. It's not that I hate on Tua. I think Tua is a decent player. I just don't feel Tua has enough for to lead us to a playoff victory or to even lead us. Well, not I won't say a playoff victory. A playoff victory he could lead us to. I think going to what we want, our expectation, which is probably reach an AFC championship game. That's what I would expect from him, especially since we put all our eggs on him. And not only that, he was a high draft pick, and there was, all this, hey, Alabama and all that stuff. So that's why I don't believe in him. I think he's a serviceable quarterback, but I don't think he's a superstar, Super Bowl caliber quarterback that could lead this team to win a Super Bowl. That's why I don't believe in him. And when it comes to Mike McDaniel, I believed in him initially, but over the years, over the last couple of seasons, yes, it's been trending in the wrong direction. And yes, I'm losing faith on him as well. So I don't know what to expect. I really don't want any of those three guys on the team as of right now. If there's one guy that I still might give him just this season is Mike McDaniel. But besides that, like I think Chris Greer has made wrong moves over the past seasons. I'm giving you examples of bad decisions not signing some of these guys and going with other guys that are pretty much not even on the team anymore. Eh, this is not the first time. He's done it before. There's been a lot of players that he's gone after that he's let walk, and they're successful in other places. And yes, you do blame the coach for it, but at the same time, you have to blame him. He's the one who's allowing, you know, he's agreeing with the coach. He's the one who's making those. He's allowing it. He's like, yo, like I don't get it why we would go ahead and just blame the coach on everything. I don't feel that way. I feel you got to blame it on both of them, and that's
Well, the coach
why
is supposed to have the game plan of what he wants on the field, and the GM is supposed to go get him the people to make that game plan work.
I understand that.
So,
But
I
when
mean,
your coach, when you made a mistake and you obviously are starting to realize that your coach is not making the right decisions, that's when you kind of have to take charge and have to start saying, okay, let me go ahead and start making some decisions on my own above the coach. And yes, that will, you know, wiggle some feathers out there, and
let me
maybe
ask
Mike
you this.
McDaniel
Let
will
me
start
ask you
getting
this, though,
upset, but
Frankie.
maybe you need that in the team.
Let me ask you this, though. Okay, so if you're around the NFL and you're watching this happen, and Chris Greer says, "Mike McDaniel, I don't trust in you. I'm going to start making my own calls."
On some of the stuff, not everything, but on some of the
I'm
stuff.
saying, if you're another head coach, you're coming here to play for this team. You're coming here to coach this team, knowing that your GM's going to pull the rug out from underneath you.
Yeah, because you could explain to that other coach the reason I had to do that was because I obviously made a mistake and didn't hire the correct coach. I need somebody to make sure that is able to lead this group of men and doesn't need me to interfere in it. Like what you said is correct. The coach is supposed to be the one giving you all these information. Hey, I want this player. I want that player. We'll work with this guy. We'll work with that guy. And the GM is there to just deliver it. Okay, that's fine. Frankie, why did you go above the coach? Why did you all of a sudden take the chance? Because I made a mistake, man. I made a mistake. I hired the wrong coach. He wasn't utilizing. I gave him all the pieces that he asked for, and they sucked or they didn't deliver as to what they needed. So now I need to find a coach that whenever you ask me for something, you're going to deliver and we're going to get results. I'm not going to interfere with it because you're getting the job done. It's a chain of command. Like I'm your boss in a way, right? I'm your boss. But
You are
in
the
order
boss.
for
If you're the GM,
it,
you're
it
the boss.
in order for me not to go ahead and start looking at you and criticizing you and going ahead and doubting your ability to coach and lead these men, you have to deliver me results. And if you can't deliver me results, then I'm starting to have doubt in you, and I have to go ahead and take charge because I don't want to lose my job. I can't fire you because if I fire you, then that means I'm already saying I failed and they're going to fire me. So the only way I could get this shit fixed is by going ahead and taking charge and making decisions more than what the head coach would be requesting. I have to start doing it to save my job on the line. And maybe that will wake up the coach. Maybe that will do something that would happen. But right now, as of right now, I have no doubt that I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Greer knows he's like, yo, I made a mistake with this coach. And I wouldn't be surprised if, he's like, yeah, I gotta start taking charge. I gotta start making other decisions. And he knows about football. He doesn't have to be a fucking coach to know football. Like he knows football and he knows that, hey, some of the calls that my coach is doing is not the right call. So I gotta step over those boundaries. And it sucks, but it's the truth. I gotta save my job. What are you gonna do? Just sit there in the train and let it run out of tracks? No, I gotta do something.
And why they extend them?
Oh, because I think they just realized it right now that they made a mistake. I don't think they realized that before they extended him. I think they're realizing it now, which was wrong, which sucks. They should have never extended him, but I think they just realized that they fucked up. I think that's the problem. I mean, but Chris Greer is obviously not gonna give it up. And like you s- and like and look,
And
if
the other
if
problem's going to be is you're not going to be in a position to me, looking at the schedule, and if Tua can come back and he is healthy, now this is all on that. You should win enough games where you're not in the bottom of the draft or the top of the draft. I'm sorry.
yeah.
That's going to be another issue because then there's going to be no quarterbacks there.
Well, I mean, look, Chris Greer is a mastermind, supposedly, when it comes to draft picks, right? And when it comes to trades. So if he's able to pull something out of his, you know what, I wouldn't be surprised he moves up in the draft. If he honestly feels, hey, if he honestly has given up on Tua, I wouldn't be surprised, even if we're in the middle of the pack or even if we're dead last, that Chris Greer goes and says, you know what, my job is on the line. Mike McDaniel and Tua are not working out. I have to do something that will go ahead and just at least give me a shot for Stephen Ross not to fire me if we start choking really bad. I got to do a move. And then talk to Mike McDaniel and say, Mike McDaniel, look, I'm doing this, bro, whether you like it or not. And this is the move we're going to do. And this is who we're bringing over to this side. And bring that and see what happens. Because it's obvious. We all talked about how Mike McDaniel improved Tua and all that stuff, but now we're realizing that that's not the case. All he did was motivate him.
No, he gave him
So-
confidence, and that's what improved him because now he has the confidence. Before he was just the
He could
dog
have
in
easily
the corner.
he could have easily hired you or me, and we could have given we would have been there on the bench cheering him on, kissing
Because
him in
it
the
also
forehead and
gave
all
him
that
the
stuff.
thing about the timing and the stuff. He used him to his. He did use him to his abilities. That's the thing, and then you build the confidence in the quarterback. I mean,
And then let's. I don't want to bring it up too much, but isn't it kind of like crazy that you're seeing Brian Flores, be successful in another team? So not only are we having our
he's successful as a coordinator. Let's calm down.
it's still okay. I get it, but
He's a hell of a coordinator. You saw our defense here, bro. He can play. He can coordinate defenses. It's when you have to run the whole team, and he's got to put the. It's like however you want to look at it. McDaniel, you just said McDaniel says nothing about defense because he doesn't know defense.
yeah,
That's probably part of a downfall too.
yeah,
Because you have to be able to build everything up and make it coexist together. Like here's the one thing that I find odd with this whole thing with our offense and our defense. Our offense will go out there, run 3 plays in 45 seconds off the field. Punt.
Okay.
Here comes our defense. Then they want the defense will make 3 good plays. They punt the ball back to us. We'll run 3 more plays for 1 minute and 30 seconds, and we put our defense right back out there. It just doesn't make sense. If you know you don't have the fast play, Snoop, stay in the huddle. Take it down to 5 seconds on the clock. Give our guys a break. By the time it gets to the fourth quarter, this team's already got 67 offensive plays, and we've got 36.
But we criticize Mike McDaniel sometimes getting the delay of games or running the play clock all the way to 1. So I don't think that's the case when it comes to the offense. I think the offense just can't sometimes deliver, and because they can't deliver.
But why not deliver and take 3 minutes off the clock instead of not delivering and taking 35 seconds off the clock?
Yeah, I mean
that's
obviously
the shit that gets to me. It's like we know what we are right now. Bleed the clock down. Don't snap the ball with whatever. And then
or run the football like what you said. Because if you run the football, you're
killing 35
some time.
seconds, and your damn defense is still huffing and puffing on the sideline, and they got to come back in now.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but again, I mean,
but
I don't know.
You want to run your offense, and it's like you got to know what you got, man.
And that was another thing I wanted. I mentioned, and I know we're dragging this segment a little bit longer, but I wanted. Here's the thing. A lot of you guys have been saying, yo, Mike McDaniel is the cause. Mike McDaniel is the cause. So if Mike McDaniel gets on the hot seat next season, right? He needs to make some moves. You can't just sit there and bring the same coaching staff. And when I mean the coaching staff, obviously we know Crossman is one that needs to go. But what about his offensive coordinator? Like that guy is not even. He's not getting any blame at all. Like what does that guy do?
He's
so
the one
get rid of him too.
If you don't give the guy any goddamn responsibility, what's he going to take? What can he be blamed for? What does he do?
You but get rid of him then too, because he's not doing anything.
I don't even know what the guy does.
Maybe you get rid of him and bring an offensive coordinator that will probably give you some more insight, or at least work with you. Like
coming here an offensive coordinator if they're not calling plays, man. It's useless. It's useless. What are you doing here? You're Mike McDaniel in San Francisco. I call run plays. and then you luck into a chance to become a. Because we do that. We did the same thing with Philbin. Like, oh, look at Green Bay's offense. Oh, Philbin's on the offensive staff. Oh, let's bring him in.
Yeah.
How'd that work out? Okay, all right, here we go.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just it's a lot.
There's
It's a lot. I don't. Sorry, guys.
Disagree with the signings trying to go one for one because there's just a lot of variables there. But look, I'm not going to say that they all had to go or they all couldn't have stayed, whatever there. But I would have liked to know some of the parameters, which we'll never find out, to see what was offered and what was turned down.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the only thing I'll say is like I would like to see. Okay, the Dolphins only offered him $3 million a year, which I know it wasn't because he was making 2.6 before that. So if he went there for $7 million, what did he expect the Dolphins to give him?
I mean, but wouldn't the Dolphins be able to match? I know they were able to match for Brandon Jones. I know Brandon Jones was something.
He was unrestricted. I believe he was unrestricted free agent, so he could go wherever he wants.
Yeah, but Brandon Jones was one they could have matched.
Look, man, I get that Brandon Jones is playing good this year. Bro, I felt like with us, he took out more of our players than he did good plays.
I still liked him though. Yeah, I still think especially keep in mind, man,
also goes
the year that he struggled was the year that he was with Vic Fangio. Before that, he was being successful in the Brian Flores defense. And again, Anthony Weaver has,
but also it's not the same defenses though. That's the thing. Is like I'm not going to sit here and say that Van Ginkel wouldn't be doing what he's doing here, but it's like I don't know that he would. I don't think he'd have the numbers that he has there.
And now I'll tell you this. I'll ask you this before we go to our predictions as far as who's going to win this weekend. We mentioned about Van Ginkel and how he, the Dolphins supposedly were not too sure about his injury. And we didn't match him, or we let him walk, and we probably offered something to him, but it was out of the ballpark. I honestly felt that Van Ginkel wanted to stay here, and I'm pretty sure they were going back and forth. But again, I'm gonna go based on Drew Rosenhaus because I think in this particular with this particular player, I do feel the Dolphins. I do feel he's being honest about this. Because I don't think Van Ginkel. I honestly feel Van Ginkel didn't want to leave the team. He really wanted to stay here, but the Dolphins were just not close enough. So then he was like, "Screw it! If there's another team that wants me, I'm gonna go to it." And obviously, Brian Flores said, "Yo, I want him," and they paid a little bit more, or probably a lot more because Drew Rosenhaus said that they weren't even in the same ballpark. So now look at the next two guys: Jalen Phillips, who's hurt, Javon Holland, who has a messed up hand. Now, all of a sudden, hey, what's going to happen with those two guys? Are we going to also take that risk? Is Chris Greer going to go ahead and say, hey, these guys are injury-prone players. I'm going to have to let them walk. Or is he going to go and say, hey, I could re-sign them for the cheap and the low end because they got injured, but there's no guarantee what we're going to get from them in the future. They could probably get injured again, and then, at the end of the day, paying him all this money at the end kind of cost us. So what are we going to get? What Chris Greer decisions is he going to do? Is he going to go ahead and let these guys walk? Or even, and I mean, Jalen Phillips, when his obviously his time is up for renewal. And then Javon Holland, which there has been no word on like his signing. Like nobody has said anything about that guy. It's like, it's crazy. Like I've been the number one advocate that been saying that I feel Javon Holland's going to walk. Like I feel they're going to let him go. I don't think they're even going to sign him at all. That's always been my case. I feel like he's going to be the one that's going to leave. But do you think Chris Greer will go ahead and re-sign when Jalen Phillips' time is up? And do you feel that they're going to go ahead and re-sign Javon Holland? Or are they going to take the same route that they feel like with Andrew Van Ginkel? Hey, we're not sure about their injuries. Let him test the waters and then let them leave.
No, I think they're going to. I mean, again, I don't know what the parameters of the deal will be, but I think they're going to make an offer to Phillips, definitely. Javon Holland is a weird one in the fact that Chris Greer does not pay that position. And they usually
pay Bradley Chubb.
That's a pass rusher. That's Jalen Phillips.
That's why Bradley Chubb played, and they paid Bradley Chubb. He's a pass rusher.
Am I speaking English? Did my mic change?
Did I say something? Did I misunderstood you?
I said I believe they'll pay Jalen Phillips because he's a
Oh,
pass
my
rusher.
fault, my fault.
I don't know what the parameters will be, but
my fault.
Javon Holland is kind of the X factor here because Greer does not pay safeties normally.
Gotcha.
But and they draft safe, but they haven't drafted a safety in a little while. So I don't know with Holland. That's the thing is like, and here's the other thing. If everybody's on the hot seat, do they sign so you're dancing with the devils you know instead of bringing in devils you don't know? So you're like, all right, let's get Holland paid. If it doesn't work this year, we're not here anyways next year. So let them figure it out.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's going to be the interesting thing because as you say in the history of Chris Greer, he does not pay safeties. And to me, Holland will deserve a good chunk of money.
Yep. Yeah. And
So-
I don't know. Well, now that we've went back and forth here with Chris Greer talk and obviously the moves of the rest of the AFC East division, let's talk about tonight, this weekend's game. Obviously, we got the Indianapolis Colts. It looks like we're gonna get Anthony Richardson as the QB over there. Is the running back gonna be back? Is the running back
I have
playing?
not seen anything about
I haven't
Jonathan
heard
Taylor.
I haven't looked at the injury report. I haven't looked at their injury report because I know that Anthony Richardson was supposed to be in full practice today, but I'm not sure if he was the only one. But let me see. Hold on a second. I'll tell you right now. I can see.
Jonathan Taylor.
It
Not
says
seen practicing Wednesday.
okay, so here's the injury report. We got on the Dolphins side, Teron Armstead didn't practice. He got a rest. Calais Campbell did not practice. He got a rest. Limited was Javon Holland, Mohamed Kamara, David Long Jr., Emmanuel Ogba, and Jordan Poyer were all limited. And then full practice, Devon Achen, Cam Smith, and Skylar Thompson. Wow, Skylar Thompson, full practice. That means Skylar's back into this. He's back in full. Wow. Okay, so now here's the Indianapolis Colts' injury report. We got Josh Downs, the wide receiver. He did not practice. Wow, they have a lot of do not practice here.
Yeah.
Ryan Kelly.
Remember, this is a vet day usually. So
Yeah, it's
most of
Wednesday.
the time they put all their guys on here as a minor injury.
But look, there it is. Anthony Richardson, he practiced full.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Taylor did not practice.
Not
He
practice.
was so they had Jonathan Taylor, EJ Speed, Brandon Smith, Trey Sermon, Michael Pittman, Chris Lemons, and Dayo Odeyangbo. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. All those guys did not practice. So I don't know, man. We'll see. If Jonathan Taylor practices, I guess, on Thursday or Friday, then we're probably going to have to deal with him. And that's when it's a little bit scary because I think our run defense is not the best either.
Also,
Your opinion?
where we're sitting linebacker wise too. Which linebackers are in there? Because I do not trust Duke Riley, man. I don't trust him.
Well, David Long,
he'll deliver some big, he'll deliver like one big moment, but then he'll have like 5 blunders where it's like, what the hell?
That's true. So, in your opinion, sir, what are our chances? Do you think the Dolphins are going to win? Do you think the Dolphins are going to lose? And what is your score prediction if you want to share that with us?
I think if the Dolphins win, it's going to be another one of those yucky games, unfortunately, man.
Mhm.
I'm going to go 26-17 Dolphins. A lot of field goals. Jason Sanders is going to earn his paycheck.
So you think that's what's going to be. Okay. All right. Well, if we're relying on Jason Sanders to deliver us a win, I don't know if that's a good thing. Here's the injury report for you guys. I just was able to switch it over. That way you guys can see it. I'm going to go on a limb here. It's going to be, I think Anthony Richardson, if he plays, it actually favors us. I think I think he's not a great passer. So
I also wonder how quick of a leash he'll have.
That's true.
Like
I wouldn't be surprised if
they'd be like, hey, let's get Flacco in there.
Yeah,
they look different with Flacco. And I think it's more just him, the veteran presence, leading the offense, whereas Anthony Richardson still trying to figure things out, and then also he runs so much that he just, I don't know. It's just odd. It looks like two different offenses when the different quarterbacks are in.
Well, look, last week I went ahead and I predicted that the Dolphins. Well, not last week because last week we didn't have the show. 2 weeks ago with my brother, I predicted that the Dolphins were going to lose to the Patriots, and they won. So I'm gonna keep going with my uh powers here, and I'm gonna predict that the Colts win. Hopefully, with the result that the Dolphins win. So I'm gonna say the Colts find a way to beat us, and I say they're playing at home and everything. So I say 27-14. Indianapolis Colts beats the Miami Dolphins. Hopefully, we get the other result. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with, and hopefully, I'm wrong with my pick. And if I see that I keep picking the other team and the Dolphins keep winning, then I'm gonna continue with that strategy, no matter what.
Smart play. Smart play.
All right, sir. So now let's talk a little bit about college football, and of course, we had We had a lot. We had a lot, right? We have a lot going on this weekend, and of course, it's the University of Miami versus the Louisville Cardinals. So, before obviously, I want to mention on the stream that I will be doing a live reaction. As a matter of fact, to all you guys that are watching tonight's show, I want to show you something. It came in, so this is for all my Louisville fans. I will be cheering for you guys. I will be wearing this on Saturday. Here it is. So Louisville all day.
So by about 3:00, it'll be getting burned. Is that what you're going to do?
I have my shirt. Oh, no, by 3:00, I'm gonna be like throwing like confetti in the stream and everything, bro. I'm gonna be doing everything here. So definitely, I'll be wearing my Louisville shirt. It finally arrived. I was excited. I actually have a lot of faith. I think this is the issue. And I kind of put two and two together. I was rooting for Cal, but I wasn't representing Cal. You know, when you want a team to win, you wear their colors. So by me wearing the Louisville colors, I should give them more luck. And in this particular case, they will go ahead and be able to upset the University of Miami. Sean, what do you think? What do you got going on? What do you think is going to happen this weekend between the University of Miami and the Louisville Cardinals?
I have a feeling that Frankie Fresco will be crying a lot.
I didn't cry last time.
No, he didn't. But you were talking a lot of junk for 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter you got very quiet. As a matter of fact, I believe
got concerned.
With 34 seconds left in the game, it was, I can't believe I'm not going to win this game. I can't believe.
Well, there's a lot of factors. There was a lot of factors.
Oh, like there's a lot of factors, is there?
The number one thing we're not going to do in this stream this time around is allow my brother to join the stream. He's not coming in here. The only way,
I mean, they're not going to go down to Louisville.
The only way my brother can come into the stream is only if he does not go ahead and start predicting, saying, "Oh, my Frankie went ahead and predicted this weeks ago that, Louisville was going to beat the Canes," because then you're jinxing it. If he wants to come and he wants to chime in and react to it, then that's fine. But if he starts going ahead, if he wants to ask like 20,000 questions, that's fine. Just as long as he doesn't jinx the situation. Because the moment I hear him say that, I click him out. I will kick him out of there. Because I right now, he has those powers. I've told him 20,000 times he has those powers. But I honestly feel Louisville has a very good chance. They just won last week. They have this is probably the best offensive team that the University of Miami is going to be going up against. And I think Manny Navarro said it best in yesterday's show when I was watching it on the Big O, is that they have a really good strong running game. They have the ability to go ahead and score. This is going to be this is the toughest test for the University of Miami this season. This is the toughest test. And you want to know something? Here's the crazy thing about it. This is a crucial game for the University of Miami, because if you look at Miami, if they lose against Louisville, and then they have to go up against Clemson, and they lose to Clemson in the ACC championship, that's a 2-loss team. I don't even think they make it to the playoffs because of their strength of schedule. Their strength of schedule is just so wakata that I don't even think they'll make it. So they need to technically win this matchup. I think at the end of the day, Louisville will win. I'm not gonna predict the score. I'll predict the score the day of the live reaction. But Sean, do you want to predict the score, or do you want to let the fans or keep the fans guessing of what you think it's gonna be the score this weekend?
42-17 Canes.
Wow, that's how confident you feel. Are you gonna be making Hard Rock betting on this game, sir?
I probably will. Yeah, I'm not afraid. I'm not scared. I'm not you.
Well, look, I'm not gonna lie to you. You were impressed. I mean, you impressed me last time. You doubled down and you definitely went ahead and
Yeah, I took
you
them
know
with plus 4.5. I took them at plus 14.5.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
I won
I was
3 times, and I got your money, so it's all good. It was a great day.
you did make yes. Don't remind me that
Oh,
you
I'm
made
sorry.
money. All right, and I do want to share this with you guys. Hold on, let me take that.
Was it?
Sorry,
Is it the Cam Ward Heisman hype?
why did it go away? Hold on a second. Sorry about that, guys. All right, here we go. Here we go. It's my Florida score results. So right now, FIU is actually playing live as we speak. They're up only 7. They're down 7-9. Wow, man, FIU is so.
Wait, is that last week or this week?
No, it's today. They're playing today right now. They're playing right now as we
Okay.
speak. So that game is on right now. There's the second quarter, and FIU is losing
Wait a minute.
7 to
How is
9.
this? The Florida Atlantic North Texas already got a score, but it says Saturday at 7.
Because those are from last week. So the only one that they have updated in this
oh.
on this site is the FIU one because
Okay.
time is already going on.
Their next
So,
game is Saturday at 7, but that's the last score.
yeah, so these are this week's games, last weekend's games, except for FIU because FIU is playing today already.
Yeah, they're playing right now. All right. West Florida, the Argonauts. They beat Delta State. That's what I'm talking about.
So here we go. So let's go down one by one. Damn, man, I hate these damn little things on the side. Okay, so Florida Atlantic lost, obviously.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Vols. God, yeah, that was a tough game. West Florida, the Argonauts.
The Argonauts, West Florida. Love them guys.
In Pensacola, I love them too. They've been
man. That's a Roman Reigns group.
Not only that, but my sister stays in Pensacola, so definitely a big fan over there. And the Argonauts over there, they're beating Delta State. Yeah. South Florida got destroyed over there by Memphis. Not a big surprise, Memphis is a decent team. It's just crazy how USF and UCF are so shitty now. Like at one point in time, they were doing so well, and now they're not that good. And that goes to show you why I feel that. When Miami beat USF, it was like another easy team that they beat because South Florida is not as good as years ago. So
can I tell you what it is though too? A little bit about what it is, I believe.
I have the feeling this is going to be related to the University of Miami. Go ahead.
No, I honestly believe that if stays good and stays winning, guys will come here to be second and third teamers waiting for their chance to play. Whereas before, they were hauling ass and going to be starters at South Florida, UCF, and some of those other schools. They're not getting those guys right now because they're going to come here and get that chance to play on the U.
I don't think that's the case, but okay. I think it's the coaching. I think it's the coaching has kind of gone down a little bit in South Florida and UCF, and that's why they're having more struggles over there. And then obviously,
of coaching.
No, the Sean Stanley's is coaching. Bethune-Cookman took an L against Alabama A&M as the last score of this past weekend. So right now, we had a pretty slow. Florida State didn't play. didn't play. Oh, the Gators.
No doubt didn't get a loss this week. How about that?
He did not. He
did not get a loss this week.
Yes, it was it was a slow day for No Doubt in the football couch of his. I know you guys are busy, but Catch Dynamite has been pretty good. I don't know about that. I mean,
I've been going back and forth. It's been okay. It's been okay. I thought the beginning of it. I got to go back to catch the beginning. They kind of did it what we thought they would do at the beginning, but I didn't get a chance to hear what they said. I have it on mute. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there playing.
Yeah, actually, I can't see it. Yeah, I see it. I see it. I've been seeing it. I've seen it. I'm recording it. You guys know I was recording.
I'm recording it too, so I'll watch it again. But
I'll watch it once we're done here. But the last topic we're going to talk about, of course, is the topic that Sean is specialized in. So really good.
Yes.
He used to play back in his high school and college years. It's soccer. And before we
Oh,
talk football, yes, of course.
football.
Before
Yes.
before we thank you for correcting me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Before we proceed with our reaction to the United States losing to Mexico 2-0, which is something that again it just doesn't make any sense. Let me give you some rundown scores of the CONMEBOL, which is the South American. Colombia trounced Chile 4-0 last night. Paraguay and Venezuela. Paraguay won 2-1. Uruguay and Ecuador tied 0-0. Argentina with Messi, Inter Miami in the building.
I thought he was
This,
done with the international play. No.
he's not. He's gonna go all the way into the World Cup, and I wouldn't be surprised if he
Oh,
continues all the way into the Copa America. That's gonna be held in Argentina.
dude, if he can play, man. Live your best life, Messi. And thank you for allowing me to watch you.
Um. Okay. 6-0 Argentina over Bolivia, and then Brazil also trounced Peru 4-0. So those were some of the scores when it came to World Cup qualifying yesterday in the South American League or in the South American countries. Now, before and one last thing we want to talk about is, of course, the controversy that's going out there, and it's about Kylian Mbappe. So what's happening with Kylian Mbappe? And sorry, Sean, I didn't put this on our timeline,
Is that
but
Mbappe?
yeah, Mbappe. Mbappe
Okay.
is
How do you say
Mbappe.
it? What's his act? How do you really say it? I'm sorry. I say Mbappe, but how do you
Some
say it?
people, everybody has a different way of saying his name,
Oh,
but
okay.
I say Mbappe. I say Mbappe.
You said something different there a minute ago. Made it sound like it was different. I'm sorry.
Kylian Mbappe is what people say. Do I say it differently? Hold on. I say
I said
Kylian Mbappe.
Mbappe or something that time. Like you said, like didn't sound like Mbappe. That's why I was.
Well, if I say it differently, point it out because maybe I do say it differently sometimes. So what ended up happening with Mbappe? There you go. That's how I
There we
say it.
go. I love that Mbappe.
Mbappe.
I like that.
Mbappe. What happened with Mbappe is that there is some controversy with him, and here's the situation with Mbappe. The situation is that there's some rape allegations on this guy.
Oh,
So, yes, there is some rape. There is some rape allegations. Now
didn't he
they're
just go
not.
to that team?
Well, yes,
Or is this coming from older times? I'm sorry.
no. So
You know
this
what?
is what happened.
I'll shut up.
So
I'll listen to your story. I'm sorry.
well, no, I appreciate it because I mean, I usually listen to you because you're the professional when it comes to soccer. So, in this particular case, obviously Mbappe made his way over to Real Madrid. So that has been this case. So during this time frame, it's been World Cup qualifying week. So they all take a break from their responsibilities in their leagues. So he's not playing for Real Madrid. He's actually going ahead and playing for France. But there's two issues going on. Number one issue is that he doesn't want to play for France. He only wants to play for France whenever there are serious games, only when it's important games. When it's like, let's say, for example, the United States against Mexico, that's supposed to be an important game. He would play that. Let's say if he was an American, he would play for that one. But if, let's say, the United States was playing against, I don't know, Haiti, he would be like, I don't need to play that game. That game sucks. Like, I don't want to play. While other players are, you still have that responsibility to show up and represent your country. So he's kind of being a diva in that case. And then the other thing is obviously the whole rape allegation. Apparently, he went to I think it was Sweden, and he's been charged with some rape allegations. Now he's gone on paper saying that they're totally false and they're all slanderous rumors about him and stuff like that. So they're still investigating it. If you Google it, it's all over Google. You'll see what I'm talking about. Very, very controversial moment right now for Mbappe, uh, or Mbappe. So it's like it goes to show you how this guy who was supposed to be the next kind of like superstar to take over the world after Messi and Ronaldo's time ran out is starting to kind of, hit a downfall. And hopefully it doesn't happen because Real Madrid does need him. I think he's a very strong player, and his what do you call it? His brand would be huge. It will blow up even more if he wins with Real Madrid. But now you're getting this information and it's just hurting him. So I think at this point in time, hopefully the rumors are false. Hopefully this is not something that all of a sudden does come out. But if it does, we might start seeing the decline of Kylian Mbappe. So just wanted to mention that before we go ahead and talk about the United States and Mexico. And no doubt does say something. I guess he maybe has experience with some Swedish women. He says Swedish women are dangerous. I've never dated a Swedish woman. I have no experience. Sean, have you ever dated before your time? Dated a Swedish woman? Would you agree with no doubt, or you have no experience in that?
I've never dated a Swedish woman, but I love Swedish fish, and I love the Swedish chef on the Muppets.
Oh, okay, all right. The Swedish chef on the
Oh, I
Muppet.
mean, look, but neither of them are women, so I don't know.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the United States, right?
Oh, they
And
suck.
the Americans with Pochettino, the new coach. He had 2 games this past weekend. He had Panama and then he had Mexico. In the Panama game, they won 2-0. But against Mexico, they took that big fat L. 2-0. A great, amazing goal by Raul Jimenez. That's Raul Jimenez. Sean, you know this because you
I thought that was
obviously
Taylor
follow.
Swift.
No. Taylor Swift will be in Miami this weekend, but that is not Taylor Swift. That's Raul Jimenez. Amazing. He's actually coming back
Yes,
into form. So very, very
and he's doing
happy
great.
for him. He's and then a second goal by Cesar Huerta. So he scored the second goal. But Sean, let me ask you something, man. And I know
Yes.
we want to get your soccer
Oh, I'm sure
expertise.
everybody's on the edge of their seat right now.
Absolutely.
Yes.
First 2 games of the new head coach, Pochettino. One was a win against a crappy Panama team, but then he loses against Mexico. The Miami, I was gonna say Miami Dolphins. The United States had not lost to Mexico since 2019. And keep in mind, the United States has sucked over these past years, but they lose to Mexico. So, sir, is it too soon to be worried about this new head coach and taking over, especially since we have the whole drama with Mike McDaniel, right? We're concerned about Mike McDaniel. We don't
Now, here's
trust
my
him.
question, Frankie Fresco, and I know I'm the aficionado here on
You are,
football,
yes.
but I have to ask you. I have to ask you a question. Front office. This is front office talk. I'm the field. I'm X's and O's, or
Okay.
whatever it is they use in football. Who's the GM? Who's getting the players for the coach? And are they getting the right players for our new coach? Do they fit
Well,
his system? Are their fitness levels on par?
okay.
Because we've
So
been lacking for a long time here in the USA.
when it comes to the United States, who makes the calls on the coaching? I'm not too sure who it is. I would have to Google it. I do know that sometimes they have like a committee and they make that decision as far as whom
Oh,
they want.
that's
So
never good. When you got a bunch, you don't have one. That's the
no
problem.
doubt says Biden is the GM.
Oh, there we go. That's what's wrong.
Let me hold on a second. Maybe I could
Did he fall
find
asleep when
out.
you're picking a schedule?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. General manager of the United
I got to
Soccer
think it's
Team,
going to
United
take
States.
a little bit for this guy to get his strategies and everything in place with these guys.
Okay, so here it is. It
Is he the
says
same as the coach that was there before? Does he
the,
run the
the-
same style and things?
all right, so here's your answer. I want to go ahead and answer it. So the former United States international Brian McBride, the old geezer back in the day, he used to play with the United States. He used to be part of the US national team when they were actually pretty decent. He is the general manager, and according to US soccer official, the 47-year-old will immediately be the one who makes these decisions. So he is the guy, the general manager. Brian McBride is the guy who's making these calls as far as who is being hired for
All right.
coaching.
I'm just going to say this right now. As an expert in the football field,
Okay.
Brian McBride, you should be fired.
Why couldn't you say
Fired.
that about Chris Greer? Why?
Fired.
Why couldn't you say that about Chris Greer? Or do you agree that Chris Greer is the guy?
No, I don't think that he is that guy. If this guy's saying, I make the decisions, these are my players, then you deserve to be you get fired.
Like I said, there's a lot of people who have a lot of say in it because there's this other guy named J.T. Batson. He is the chief
Uh,
executive officer and security general. So he's another. When it comes to hiring these coaches, it's I don't tend to just point the finger at one person. It's usually there's a lot of like voices as to who could go ahead and be the person that they want to go ahead and hire. But I will say this: the English national team hired Tuchel. Tuchel is a very, very good coach. He coached for Bayern Munich. He coached for Chelsea as well. Now he's going to take over the English national team. And the Alexi Lalas, no, that was funny. I was actually Alexi Lalas has a podcast. It's called State of the Union, and basically
he's not happy with U.S. soccer. I can tell you that much.
he's never happy with U.S. soccer.
No, no,
But
no.
what Alexi Lalas was talking about when it came to the game was that in the first game against Panama, Pochettino put Alexi Lalas, Christian Pulisic. He played some other starters on the team. When they played against Mexico, he sent some of them already back to their leagues and decided to kind of bring his B squad to go up against Mexico. So Alexi Lalas was pissed because Alexi Lalas was saying, "Why would you go ahead and remove some of your more talented players and allow them to go take a rest instead of actually going ahead and playing them against a rival like Mexico?" So, and typically, again, it's not known. It's kind of like putting it together two and two with like Messi. You know how Messi goes and he competes with against Bolivia. Look, he just played against Bolivia, had 6 goals. You know, Scanoli would have gone ahead, which is the coach of Argentina. If he would have gone and said, "Hey, Messi, go back to Inter Miami. We don't need you. We're playing against Bolivia. It's not a big deal." Do you see that he hasn't done that? That coach doesn't do that. Pochettino did that with the United States. So do you criticize that? Do you criticize the fact that that Pochettino went ahead and sent some of his best American players back into the league and said, "Hey, I'll run my B squad." That way, number one, it's a way to save my ass because if you have your main players on the field and you get your ass beat or at least lose 2-0, it's still going to look bad on him. Or number two, was that the right call to just like let him go, let him do it, and then we'll just test the waters with our B squad to see how it is. And if it doesn't work, it won't be such a bad look for me.
No, I think you always keep your best players there. To me, I mean, again, because all these games usually have meaning, like either seeding or whatever. Now you've lost to Mexico, which you haven't done in a long time, and that's going to back. I mean, it's not like we're like one of these powerhouses and it's a fluke. Okay, we send everybody home and we lose. We might have lost 2-0 even if the starters were there. I don't know.
Correct. No,
But,
you do know, sir.
But it's just odd to me that you're going to say, okay. It's almost to me, I feel like he's saying, I don't have what I want yet.
You know what? That sums it up really well. I think that's the case. I think he's, as of right now, just testing the waters, trying to see who he has and what kind of talent you have on the team.
Because
But
if you
that doesn't.
sent them guys home and you won, you're sending a message to those guys. And I feel
Not
like
only
maybe that's what he was trying to do is like maybe there's some, there's a little bit of beef inside that area and he was trying to prove a point and it just didn't go the way he wanted it to go.
It could have, but when I'm looking at both lineups and I'm trying to get this, let me see if I could upload it on the. Let me see if I could have them both set up. That way you could see it.
That lineup, I gotta see it.
But I want you to see.
Last night.
Let me see if I could. All right, let's do this. I'm gonna just independently, because I was trying to get them side by side, but it's a little bit more difficult to do that. But I'm gonna send you the lineup that he had. I'm gonna upload it on the image board here for us, and I want you guys to see what he went ahead and pulled out there against Mexico, right? And then I want to compare it to what he showed against Panama. And if you look at both of them, there really isn't that big of a difference. So this was the squad, and here's the overall ratings. That way you could see it as well. So Matt Turner, obviously, the goalkeeper. Robbie Robinson,
That's
Scally on the
Robbie
right side.
Robinson.
Yeah, I
That's
think
not
that's his
Robbie
name.
Robinson, is it? No,
Is that his name? Robbie Robinson?
no, it's not. Robbie Robinson's the guy on the Inter Miami, right?
Hold on a second. Hold on. I forgot it. Maybe it's his first name. Probably who I Anthony Robinson. Sorry, it's
Okay.
Anthony Robinson, not Robbie Robinson. Correction. So you got Robinson, Bucio, Musa Morris, Brandon Harrison, Tillman, and Josh Sargent. So that was your squad on against Mexico in Mexico.
Last
And
night.
as you could tell, they all sucked. The only one that was decent was Harrison, but we're obviously realizing that Musa, who's supposed to be one of their strongest players, Aronson, who's supposed to be one of their strongest players, and Sargent, who's supposed to be one of their leaders, is not doing so well. Even though Aronson it got rated a 7, he still sucked. He wasn't that good. The United States did not get a goal on shot until I believe the second half when it came against Mexico. So that's how bad the United States did. But so I want you to look at the lineup and you see what they did. They went with a 4-3-2-1, and look at the players that they have. You pretty much had everybody there. But now I'm gonna bring up the lineup or the squad that they put out for uh the Panama game. And when you look at and when you're comparing both of them, let me take this out. You're gonna see that a lot of the names are pretty much the same. There wasn't such a big difference. So this narrative about hey, it's your B squad. I don't think so. There's Aronson, there's Sarge again. You had Pulisic, but there's Anthony Robinson, who I got confused with the Robbie Robinson. Bucio was there, Musa was there, Morris was there, Scally was there, McKenzie and Rim and Turner. These are the same guys. The only guy who did not show up was Christian Pulisic. So
Yeah, but you ran a totally different scheme, though.
well, keep in mind, he not a scheme. He ran a different formation, so he ran a
Whatever
3-4-3.
scheme formations, the same damn thing. I'm the professional here, buddy.
So, like when you use this narrative that the United States brought their B team against Mexico, did they really bring their B team? It seems like it's the same guys. It just looks like it was a different formation.
It feels
In
like
my
this
opinion.
is a more attacking formation, and the one you just showed me was more of a sit back and just try to survive formation.
Yes, because in this one you have 3 forwards. So you have Aronson, Sarge, and Pulisic. But in the other one, you have a number 9, just a number 9, which is Sargent. So you only had him up top, and then you have 2
Yeah,
guys
he played
behind
like a private, so he's no good.
him. But again, it goes to show you that maybe it's not Pochettino that was trying to just bring a B squad. Let's just keep it real. I think the United States men suck when it comes to quality of soccer. They're not good. And I think the United States team has to revamp the talent, change it up, like get rid of all those guys. If they can't hack it, start looking for other new guys because this is not working out. Like Turner is a decent goalkeeper, but he's been riding the bench now for a minute. Like
But I
he
thought
hasn't been
originally
starting.
the goal for like the MLS stuff was really to make sure more of the American players were playing.
The situation
Why
with
don't they take more of the MLS guys?
Okay, so the reason they don't take more of the MLS guys is because the MLS, with all due respect, but the quality of talent in the MLS is not that good compared to outside.
What
So,
the hell do we have now?
what we have
I mean,
players
we
that
got
are
this
playing
draft, and
outside.
all of those guys are probably on teams in relegation.
No. Because okay, so I'll give you a breakdown. So Christian Pulisic, he plays
Yeah,
in
oh, I
Milan,
know. Yeah.
which is in Italy.
Yes.
Sargent plays in Norwich, so that's an actually pretty decent team.
Yeah.
Brandon Harrison plays in Leeds United. That's a English Premier League. Anthony Robinson plays in Fulham. That's
Oh,
in
I
the
love
Premier
Fulham.
League.
Fulham.
Gianluca Busio, he plays in Venezia. Now, Venezia, I don't know where that country is. What
That's gonna
country
be
is
in
that?
Italy.
That's an idiot. Yes, that
Yeah.
is an Italy.
Come on, man.
Sorry.
Know your
And
soccer teams.
Aiden Morris, He plays in Middlesbrough. I think
Yeah.
that's probably Germany.
Yeah.
No, it's actually England too. So a lot of these guys, Musa I know plays in. Oh damn, I didn't know Musa was playing in Milan. I thought he was still in La Liga. So Musa is playing in AC Milan, which is the same one with Christian Pulisic. Tim Ream is playing in Charlotte FC, which is an MLS
There we
team.
go. Reed's my favorite guy
Uh,
on the team. I like him.
Mark McKenzie is playing in Toulouse, which I think it's a French team, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's a
Sounds like
French
it.
team. And then Scally is playing in some team called Borussia Maglenbach.
No, that's
So
in Germany.
that's definitely German.
Yeah.
So you have, and then obviously Matt Turner's playing Crystal Palace, which is in England as well. So they're all playing in Europe. They're all playing in Europe, and yet they're still really crappy compared to um, other teams. And that's the shocking part, because these guys are playing in Europe. They're not playing in MLS. If you were to switch, which they have done before, they've gone ahead and removed all these guys that are playing overseas, and they've only brought in MLS talent, and they've struggled even worse. So I think that's the reason why they do not focus on bringing a lot of the MLS guys, because at the end of the day, the MLS talent is not there yet. It's gotten better over the years, but it's not there. So, in order for you to be successful, you have to go and get players that are playing
I
overseas.
got it. I got a question, real quick. Messi, is he a U.S. citizen yet?
No, he is not a U.S.
I mean,
citizen.
look,
That's a good idea. I like where you're going with this.
If I'm a GM on this damn team for 1 year only, I'll have what is it? Bud Light? What was the beer commercial? He's Bud Light, right? Is it Bud Light?
I believe so.
does?
Yes, I believe it's Bud Light. Yes.
I have Bud Light. I have Apple. I have Apple, the official channel for the U.S. soccer team. Bam. Play it, baby. Let's go. Let's
Well,
go.
I thought where you were gonna go is make Lionel Messi a U.S. citizen and then have him play for the United States.
Oh, that's
instead
what I'm
of
saying. Make him a
Yeah,
U.S.
right?
GM. Brian McBride, earn your damn money. Get him as a U.S. citizen. Get him signed. Let's go. We got to bring Suarez, Busquets, bring them all.
Well,
All the barrier.
I will say this: back in the day when Jordan Klinsmann was the coach, what he did was kind of creative. He went overseas and he got all the Americans that were like had dual citizenship. So like if they were
Oh,
American
yeah.
and then they had Germany in them or whatnot, that's
That's
how
right.
they brought him. And he built them that way. He still failed.
Hey,
Still didn't
whatever.
win.
Chick-fil-A for life. Whatever you want.
But he did
On
try
Sunday,
that.
except on Sundays. No Sunday.
He did try that in order to improve the US soccer team. But right now I don't know, man. The talent for the United States, man, is just not there. And I think if the United States wants to improve, I think they have the right coach. It's too soon. Obviously, this is just a second game. So
Yeah, they came
it's
back
not
to
gonna
back games like that, man. Like, what are you trying to do to this coach?
No, they do that. They do that.
Man.
That's how it works when it
Screw
comes
that.
to
They put an interim in there. Get a full freaking camp.
no.
Here's your team. 2 weeks later, you got 2 games.
So
Come on, man. That's
I mean,
garbage.
I love your
McBride,
expertise
be
here,
better as a GM, man.
but
Be
I will
better,
say
Brian
I will
McBride.
say this. I think the United States needs to work on their defense. They need to work on getting somebody who's gonna be um their best two guys back there in the back, which is they usually have Scally and they usually have Tim Ream, and they both are not the best. They look shaky all the time. They look like they don't know what they're doing. It just looks a little bit concerning. And for the first time in a long time, the United States soccer team does not have a really solid goalkeeper, which is something that we've always had. There's a they did bring Drake Callender at one point in
He
time,
sat on the bench for 3 games.
and he was on the bench. Yes.
Yeah,
But
never used him. Like, I mean, come on. Come on. Well, this guy plays overseas. He's better.
9 out of 10 times,
Listen,
yes.
I'm gonna talk,
When it comes to soccer, yes.
let me talk to Brian McBride real quick again. One more time. Brian, listen to me. Get with somebody in the U.S. government. Expedite U.S. citizenship for Messi and his boys. Put them on U.S. soccer tomorrow.
It's like cheating, though.
And then just start picking everybody off one by one. Whoever Portugal.
mean,
Who are we gonna take from Portugal? Ronaldo? Yes. Ronaldo, Portugal, right? He's Portugal, right? Am I right?
yes, Portugal, yes.
Boom. Lamine Yamal. Let's take the young kid. Let's get him over here. Some
The
young
guy
blood.
from Spain, yeah, it's a good point.
Yes,
Yeah.
kid from Spain. Bring him.
Actually, you know what? If the the United States usually has the power and the money. Yeah,
I mean, make it happen.
just sign everybody. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That's
That's
true.
right, man. Brian McBride, you're not trying, buddy.
So I mean,
You're
at
not
the end of
trying.
the day, look, man. All jokes aside, though, I think the United States, man, you got to give it time. Am I a little bit upset that Pochettino didn't bring other players to the team to play against Mexico and all that stuff? Not really. I think he's still testing the waters. He's still trying to see.
He's got to figure out who plays in his. I don't even know what his system is, but you got to find out who fits and who doesn't, man. Because then at least you get a core, and then you can work from something. Like right now, I can't even believe that he would even have a core of who he think is a good fit for his.
I mean, he's using the same
system.
guy.
Like,
He's using the same guys that were previously
yeah,
being
because
used
they were there.
during. Yeah, so I mean, he's just getting a feel. It's only been 2
Now,
games.
when's
so-
the next international period when they would like after this one? When do they come back again to US?
The United States. Hold on, I could tell you right now. So United States next matchup. Give me
Tomorrow.
1 second. No. Their next matchup is happening. Oh wait, they don't have it listed here. Okay.
Right, so
Not
that's fine.
sure. Not sure when the next one.
They should
Not
have
sure when
some
the.
time on this.
Because remember, keep in mind the United States already qualified to the World Cup, so all these games are friendlies. They can't play
Yeah.
international play. But I will say this: his biggest test is gonna be next year when they have to go ahead and play in the Gold Cup. And based on the facts and information they've been sending out, is that they're gonna make it like a super Gold Cup. So they're bringing 2 nations out of different 2 teams out of each Pacific continent. So they'll bring 2 from South America, 2 from Europe, 2 from South Africa, 2 from Asia. They're gonna do that to kind of spice it up. And I guess that's a way to go ahead and compare the United States men versus the rest of the world. And there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the next big game for the United States, I think it's CONCACAF Leagues Cup. I think it's CONCACAF Leagues Cup because I they were talking about it. I know Alexi Lalas was talking about it, and I think their next game would be against Jamaica. And so that would be the next game. I don't know exactly when it will be against Jamaica. It looks like Jamaica is going to be the next one, but they would be the next one that they probably would play up against. But the biggest test for the United States men is going to be next year when it Gold Cup play, and they're going to have to play against some very good quality talent, just similar to what they had to do in Copa America when they had to play against the South American team. So obviously, you're going to get from previous episodes that we've talking about. We've spoken about this. I think Colombia and Uruguay are going to be the ones from South America.
It's
And
November 14th and 18th. They play Jamaica.
there you go. There you go.
Like
So I knew they were playing Jamaica. So it's official against Jamaica. Yeah, that's their next important game. It's like a league. It's like a cup that they're going up against. So
it's the CONCACAF Nations League quarterfinal.
there you go. There it is. Nations League. There you go. I knew I wasn't off. I knew I had heard about it because I know.
Now, here's my question for you, and again, I ask you because you know I'm testing you on this to see if you're
of course,
right.
I understand.
So now, these players they go back to their teams.
Mm-hmm.
When do they report back? If their match is November 14th, when would they return to start working with the U.S. team?
Well, it depends on where they at with their league. Like if their league is on a break, they could go in 2 weeks of anticipation. But typically, it's about a week or less that they move from their actual international their league team to their international team.
So McBride and what's it, Pochettino?
Pochettino.
Pochettino. Whatever.
Yes.
Sorry, Pochettino. They need to get together and figure out who the players are they want to invite.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like they need to figure out, okay, this guy, we want this guy, and just
because
dude, just start hurting feelings, buddy. McBride, start hurting feelings.
Because in
If they don't
international,
belong, don't bring them in.
because what happens is in international play, Sean, they're not like they don't have months being together. They don't have that.
That's
They just basically have like 1 week
They're a
to
country.
practice.
They should be together all the time.
well, they have about 1 week to go ahead and have a handful of practices to get to know themselves, and then dish them out there and move it on. And the reason that they don't have to go ahead and train and go hardcore is because they're already training with their league teams. So they already are fit. There's no reason why to go ahead and, have them come a month early just to practice and that stuff. The only time that they do kind of make that move, that it might be a week or two or something like that, is like I told you, like if they're off season or if there's no league, the league is, and like they're off for that league for that week or two. So they'll be like, oh, let me bring them early. And keep in mind, there's a lot of factors. There's also some of the league teams can go ahead and deny the player access to go to their international play. They have done that before, but typically when it comes to the Americans, they they never do that with Americans. So I have seen it happen
I
with some
should
of the
tell you
South
something
Americans.
right there, make Brian McBride and Pochettino. They don't even keep your guys. Yeah, take them, please. Thank you.
I
Come
again, I think the
on,
right move for the United States soccer,
blow
for
it
the
up, man.
coach and for
Blow it
everything,
up.
it's just start doing your homework and start finding guys that are outside of the normal guys, because these normal guys are not delivering.
Just
And we'll
blow
see.
it up.
And wait, Sean, before we go, because I know we've gone a little bit longer than expected, but one of the biggest things that came out on the United States men was their practice. And now I'm gonna show you. Hold on, I'm gonna let me look it up if I could find it here. So one of the biggest things that they were talking about was that the United States team was feeling a little bit awkward with Pochettino as their coach. And the reason that they were feeling a little bit awkward with their coach was because um during his run, the American soccer team, when they practice, they only practice for like about an hour. And um when Pochettino came on board, the first thing that he did is he extended the practices for more than 2 hours. So the players felt overwhelmed with the amount of work that they had to do.
Bullshit. Blow them up. Blow it up. You got 2
I
hours of
forgot to
practice, bro.
I forgot to mention that too. Yes,
Come on, man.
they felt like it was a little bit too stressful, the amount
Don't
of
you stressing me
practice
out,
they're getting.
coach? Coach Tito's
They're not. I mean,
pick
they
roll,
said that
jackass.
they're not used to that amount of
Yeah, they had Mike McDaniel coaching them.
they're not used to that amount of practice, or at least they had the Mike McDaniel coaching, because Pochettino's like, nah, we're gonna practice for
Yeah.
more than an hour.
They
We're gonna
brought
practice
they
to
brought
three,
Jimmy
4 hours.
Johnson in now.
So they felt a little bit, they felt stressed and
I don't want to say
overwhelmed.
Don
They're like,
Shula because I don't know if the guy's going to win or not. So that's why I'll go with Jimmy Johnson.
so yeah, so that was another controversy that was out there, that the American men were like a little bit
So maybe
worn
they're
out.
overwhelmed and they lost 2-0 to Mexico because they had to practice too much.
Probably, but
Come on, man.
I mean,
What have
I
we
could.
come to, bro?
It is
Like,
a little bit. Yeah, start off practice with Oklahoma Dream. that
I
what
remember
you would call it?
when I was, and again, I get it. I'm old as hell. We did 2-a-day practices, and not just like one in pads and one not in pads. We were in pads, both of them, the whole summer. And I get it's high school and everything else, but still, man, like the pros did the same thing for a long time. And now it's like, oh, we can't practice, can't do this. They want us to pay more to watch a crappier product.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's scary
You know what?
that the
US
American men
soccer's
only.
dead to me now.
It's
Argentina.
bad.
Argentina's mine now. Argentina.
How dare you say Argentina? Jesus Christ! But
I'm not going for Colombia. That's your team.
we won, sir. We won 4-0.
That's
So
great. I'm sorry. Argentina won too. What
yes,
they
but
won? They won
Argentina,
what? 6-0.
they won 6-0,
Six
but they were
nothing.
playing a more.
That's right. We missed a
uh
field goal.
Yeah, I mean, the United States men's
This guy's
team
so annoying. Damn it.
needs to do a better job in their practices, and I think they're in the right direction. Even though they lost against Mexico, I think they're in the right direction, because I think Pochettino is gonna put them in shape and make them work, bro.
At this point, they get to the bottom because then there's nowhere to go but up. That's it.
That is a very good point. So here it is. Here it is. We were on. So this was by who said this? Tim Ream.
Oh, good
says,
God. Isn't that guy like 20, 35 years old or something?
37 to be
He
exact.
looks like he's like been around. Like,
I remember Tim Rim is the guy I told you that they need to find somebody to actually like replace along with Scotty.
and he's
'cause
one
I
of the
don't think
guys that they sent home because he didn't play the second day. I bet
It
you
says-
Pochettino was like, "Get your ass on the bus, then."
he said this was his exact words. We were out on the field for 2 hours, which is probably the longest training session I've ever had in the U.S. men's soccer national team in my 14 years. Can you believe that? That goes to show you how disrespectful.
And how
the
bad have we
United
been
States
bad for? 15 years, 16 years, 17 years?
our whole lives when it comes to the U.S. team.
All right.
I think
Yeah,
the last time the United States team actually had a decent team was when they had Landon Donovan and
Oh yeah, they
and
did do a
those
little
guys.
bit of thing there. They still weren't greatest, but they were at
They
least
weren't good, but they were
acceptable to watch.
competitive.
Yeah, they were
They were
competitive.
competitive. Tim Howard was the goalkeeper. That's one thing the United States
Remember
has
that World
always had.
Cup? That was that World Cup that Germany won, I think, and the U.S. made it to like the 8, I think, or something.
Yeah, I think it was that Brazil. It was the Brazil World Cup where Germany
was it?
destroyed Brazil,
Is that?
and
Oh,
then
okay.
they made it to the finals. And at the end, it was Germany versus Argentina, and then Germany beat, I think, Argentina in the final. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was the
Yeah, because U.S. had a great run.
2014 World Cup.
I think they lost like 1-0 or something like that.
Yeah,
And then there was
but hey, it is what it is,
it is.
sir.
Maybe you should practice more, Bream, dumbass.
we do need to. They do need to practice more. They
No.
need a lot more. But sir, we've been going a lot longer than expected. We went 30 minutes longer than
That's giving you
we would
precision
want to.
football strategies right now. Scheming
But
it up.
Sean, I always appreciate you coming in. You're not DiTrapio, but honestly, sometimes I actually appreciate having you more here because at least you don't jinx it. But you know,
That's
you
right,
still
because
are.
I just bring the pain. The U's going to kick Louisville's ass. The shirt will be getting slobbered on and crying all over. It's a crying towel starting Saturday.
I'm disappointed that you're not going to be able to stay throughout the whole stream because once Louisville wins, I wanted to get your live reaction. I might just call you. That's what I might do during the live stream. I might just call you if you're on. Hopefully, you're not on the flight by that time.
Board at hold on. I think we board at 4:30.
Thank you, no doubt.
I should be there before.
So
Yeah, I should be able to jump on after either way. Yeah, it should be good.
So
we boarded at 5:40.
Hopefully you're able to jump on board after that Louisville win because we want to get your live reaction. We would love to see how disappointed you are.
Partying and be all with all these fans going, you.
No. That's not gonna happen this weekend. But
besides spirits, you know, there are gonna be some fudged up people in there, buddy.
Sean, tell us where the fans and the people can find you, sir.
Right here. Look at this mug.
On social media, sir. I mean, on social media.
McBride ain't got shit on me. No, you can catch me at Stanley Media House on IG and Threads, Stanley Media _11 on X. And of course, go to the YouTube channel, Stanley Media House Network. Hit the subscribe button, notification button. We talk wrestling. We're going to be talking a lot more, but we got traveling the next 3 out of 4 weeks. So after the LA Rams week, I'll be back putting up a lot more content and a more content marketing strategy that will be going on Stanley Media House Network.
Awesome, man. And you guys can follow me. You guys can follow me at Fresco Music. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and like, and don't forget to follow both of our channels. That way our fans keep growing and our views keep growing. I want to give a big shout out to everybody who joined us on the chat board. No doubt, Cat for Life. Nice to see Cat for Life back on the chat board.
Chad was me off one thing real quick. Why isn't he doing the caps anymore, man?
I don't know.
Like, I don't even know it's him now. It's like I have to look like, oh, Cap for Life. Okay. He's not screaming at me anymore. I don't like it.
Maybe he's changing it up. Shake Money made his way over here. Shake Money, I like it. Shake Money was in the building. Steven Gonzalez was in the building. Your father was in the building. Anybody else? Is there anybody else I'm missing? Let me see. Damn, there was a lot. Memo was in. It was in the chat board as well. I think we got everybody. So I want to thank everybody who tuned in on YouTube and also tuned in on X and on Twitch, because those are the three that we're streaming on. And hopefully we go ahead and have my brother return next week. Remember, guys, on Saturday I will be going ahead and streaming my live reaction for
Crying.
not crying. It will be a live reaction of me excited wearing my Louisville shirt, which I'm excited about. The game starts at what time? What time is the game? The game is at noon.
Kick, baby.
Well, so what I'm gonna do is I'll probably go live around 11. So that will probably allow me to see a little bit of college game day and see what they're talking about, and we could interact and see what you guys think. And then go from there, and hopefully we could finally give the University of Miami a defeat. And I will say this, Louisville, I mean, I'm gonna be wearing the shirt. It's here. I'm halfway a fan already. Let me see.
If you get the shirt right, I mean,
I'm already halfway there as your fan.
Louisville with pride.
So I'm gonna be I'm going 100% in with you guys. So
Did your Gators play at 12 too?
The Florida Gators,
the red of Louisville. Okay, all right.
the Florida Gators play at 7:45 p.m. against Kentucky.
Primetime ass whooping.
We already knew we weren't gonna win. Okay,
Gators got a tough schedule, bro. Regardless,
yeah, we knew we were gonna.
It's gonna be tough this year, regardless. But it's even worse when
we knew it was gonna be rough. We knew it was.
Now it's about getting Lagway comfortable and growing. You need
Lagway. My only concern with him is I hope he doesn't leave after this season.
He's gone.
No.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone, buddy.
No.
Yes,
don't say
because
that.
There's what is your pipeline? Like that's the problem that you guys have right now. There's no pipeline. I mean, you've got some. I mean, again,
we're not a bad team. We're decent. We're just there's just some certain mistakes that are done by the
decent doesn't work in the SEC, bro.
Correct.
Decent in the SEC is Vanderbilt.
Hey, but even Vanderbilt won.
Vanderbilt's better, man.
But the situation with the Gators is if you have a quarterback that could lead and be successful, then all you got to do is surround them with the right pieces. And I think the quarterback that we have, I like Mertz, but unfortunately he got hurt. I like the dynamic that I kept telling you this. I like the fact that they were switching them one by one, and it was bringing me those Steve Spurrier vibes when you had a different quarterback each time, but it kept the defense guessing, and it was working for them. So now that Mertz is hurt, and now we got Lagway, that's the only guy we got left. I mean, we got to work with him. We got to work with him, and maybe he stays because he knows that this is his team and he gets a field. Maybe he still likes the University of Florida, even though we kind of suck. But maybe he gives us another chance. At least if he gives us a second chance, I think that will help us a lot. And keep in mind, I think we lost our running back as well, which was another bad, another bad situation for us. So. I think the Gators would have been a lot better if we would have been able to keep the kid that left to Georgia. I forgot his name. The running back that was Travis Etienne's brother, I think it was.
Trevor Etienne.
Trevor Etienne. There you go. So I think we would have been better with him because he was a solid running back, and by him leaving to Georgia, it hurt us a lot in the running game as well. So, but we'll see. I'm not gonna go ahead and kind of poo-poo on the Gators just yet. If I see them putting heart and soul and working like the Tennessee game, they were giving it all. It just didn't go their way, but they kept fighting. I like that. I don't mind that. So that's how I feel about the Gators right now. So, but ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Another episode in the books for episode 42. Next week will be episode 43. Hopefully with a Miami Dolphins win and a Louisville win. And Sean, any last words before we head on out?
Yes, Frankie. Thank you for letting me talk to you.
Oh my God. We're definitely not ending the show with that. So let's kick him out of there. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you later. See you next week.
Let me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.
Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.